Following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. The topics discussed may include drugs, alcohol, or be sexual in nature. This show is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. I'm serious. It's dirty. Really, really dirty. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage, sit back, and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic Forum, assemble! You're listening to Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from Fantastic Forum Studios, Los Angeles. Hope everyone wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll help you take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, he is our riddle inside of an enigma trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
Next, he is our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line for the cowl. He's our resident Dark Knight detective. It's Oz.
Yeah, I'm here.
Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
What's up?
And as for myself, my name is Lawrence Young. They call me Mayor Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. We got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking to you all about the latest addition to the MCU, WandaVision. So we'll talk about that. We're going to also bring you that review of the Immortal Warrior that we promised you last week. We didn't get to it, but we're going to get to it this week, definitely. We also have, of course, a brand new Heavy Metal Minute and the latest in comic book news. So we got all that, and of course, whatever else it is you all want to talk about. And so, yeah, it's going to be amazing. Before we get there, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, who without him, this show would not have happened. So thank you, Scott. Appreciate you, man. And we want to tell you how it is you can get down with Fantastic Forum. So here's how you do it.
On the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
FantasticForum.Live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
Something about the way she says FantasticForum.Live every time, man. It jumps. It jumps. I don't know why. You know, that's all.
They call you Dick Dragon?
They call me Dick Dragon. Exactly. Everybody knows that about me. I was like, I'm out.
You guys will get that pick next week.
I love it. I love it. Anyway, so yeah, please. This show is interactive. Obviously, all four of us that are on this show enjoy to talk, except Jay. But the fact is, this show's interactive. It's not meant for you to just be sitting at home watching and listening. If you are sitting at home just watching and just listening, we appreciate you. Thank you. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification and the whatever, and do the cha-cha slide, all that. But if you hear something and you're listening live and you're like, they don't know what they're talking about. If that thought enters your mind, you should be hitting the call-in button. Or if you're like, that makes a lot of sense, but what they missed was, you should be hitting the call-in button. You know what I'm saying? Like, interact, come, look, or jump in chat and just tell us. You can tell us in chat. Hey, we get it. Like the intern said, if you're shy, it's okay. Look, because Lord knows, believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I promise you. You don't know it, but I have. Look, ask Jay. He knows. He remembers. He remembers. He remembers what it used to be like. Yeah. So, trust me, man. It's like, I get it, but interact with us. Tell us what's going on. So,
No.
Go ahead, Jay.
Tiger Claw in chat says, "What's up, Fantastic Forum? Did WandaVision exceed your expectations? Were you hit with a dose of nostalgia with how they accurately portrayed a 1950s sitcom with the attention to details?"
Well, first of all, I will say this. I definitely want to wait for Oz before we get deep into WandaVision, but I just would like to begin by acknowledging Tiger Claw's low-key shade there of us, hitting us with nostalgia for 1950 sitcoms, like we were there, we were watching the Dick Van Dyke Show when they aired. It's like we're not that old, Tiger Claw. It's like not only are we not that old, but you're older than us, Tiger Claw. You didn't watch the Dick Van Dyke Show, so we didn't watch the Dick Van Dyke Show like that. I was like, oh man, it's just back like it was back in the day when we were remember when TVs had to warm up? Oh Jesus.
And cool down, but they turn them off and they'd just stay humming.
Yeah, right.
The interesting thing about that, though, is thanks to programming blocks like Nick at Night.
Yeah,
I'm very familiar with the 1950s sitcoms.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, where it's like, I didn't watch Nick at Night. I'm just a fan of sitcoms, and it's one of those things where, at certain points, I did actually watch it, just going back, just to kind of be like, oh, yeah, man, these tropes have been around for generations. You know what I mean?
Look, one thing I will say about WandaVision is I'm glad they took some source material into account, whether it was just the 50 sitcom, not the comic.
Moses is because there weren't no comic book sources.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Well, listen, Oz is back here, so we can.
I do want to tell you though, before we continue, Larry. Sorry to cut you off, but I had a dream with Tiger Claw last night, and there was two of him in it.
Wait, when you say you had a dream, you had a dream and Tiger Claw was in your dream twice?
No, it was two Tiger Claws.
Like the time Jay was with the other dude, but they were Tiger Claws.
No, they're not like that. I was cutting his hair and then talking to the other one. It was
Tiger clones.
Yeah, Tiger clones. It was weird.
That is weird. Wait, so was the one in the chair quiet, or was he joining in the conversation?
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, one was really quiet, and the other, and it's everybody. I was making fun of the fact that they both have the same name, Tiger Claw, but it's the same person. It was just two of them. It was weird.
I couldn't wait for the two Tiger Claws to start arguing with each other in your dream. I was like, oh, that's gonna be an epic battle right there of the Tiger Claws.
Yeah, it was
outmaneuver each other, trying to one up each other on what article they read about the latest thing.
Yeah, I think I just missed cutting hair and talking shit.
I believe that, friend. I'm sorry that you haven't gotten the opportunity to do that anytime lately. Yeah, I agree. So let's do this, fellas. I feel like WandaVision obviously is.
Should we play the comic book theater review?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, TV
Please do that.
Comic book theater.
I agree. Comic book theater. So WandaVision premiered on Disney Plus this past Friday. They gave us 2 episodes if I'm not mistaken, I believe there's going to be 9 episodes total. So it has 8 weeks that they're going to give us this show. 2 episodes Friday and then 1 episode each of the subsequent weeks, I believe. It's the first MCU related property that we've gotten since Spider-Man Far From Home. So that makes it more than a year since we've seen anything MCU related, MCU. Well, I guess you can't even call this technically this. You can't even call this MCU adjacent. I don't think, because supposedly it's all much more deeply integrated. We'll see how that all ends up turning out. But the first 2 episodes premiered.
This show is supposed to set up Doctor Strange 2.
Right. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So, just a quick, I guess, idea of what the premise of this show is in case you haven't seen it. WandaVision is set up so that each episode is an era, like a era of a particular era of sitcoms, basically going, or at least seemingly going to go from decade to decade. The first episode beginning with 1950 sitcoms, kind of like the Dick Van Dyke Show, or a little bit like I Love Lucy kind of type deal.
You can't say Dyke anymore, Larry.
It's a name.
You can say Dick.
It's a name too.
You can say Drake.
They're all names. I don't. They're all names. So each episode is in the in the trappings of a particular era of sitcoms. The first episode was 1950s. The second episode was 1960s, and they play as though it's Wanda and Vision being like the new kind of neighbors in this world, and trying to hide the fact that they're special with powers and such, and trying to just kind of fit into the whole neighbor, I guess like sitcom tropey kind of thing. The entire time, well, I won't say the entire time, but we all believe, based on previews and some of the things you see in the show, that this reality is not the actual, reality, and why it's happening the way it is part of the mystery and the mystique of the show. So, with that said, who would like to start in regards to what they thought about WandaVision? Who wants to jump in?
I guess I go first.
I was about to say, no, everyone talk at once, goddamn. Don't everyone talk at once. It's like, y'all, hey, hold on, hey, crowd control.
I was waiting for none of us to go, and Jay ruined it.
So, I really thought they would did the feel of these sitcoms really well.
You said you thought they would?
I thought they did.
Oh, you thought they did? Got you.
Yeah, the feel of the sitcoms was like really well done.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the mystery or the weirdness, it's not. I didn't feel like it was sharp enough to get a reaction, because I already knew something was wrong. So when they're doing like these slight things, like the one scene in the first episode where the boss is choking,
Mm-hmm.
and the husband or the wife is saying, "Oh, stop that," and Wanda's like staring into the camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that normally would be really kind of unsettling,
Mm-hmm.
except I already know something is wrong.
Right.
So it's the impact is like just way less
Gotcha.
than it normally would be.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, in the second episode, where you have the voice on the radio saying, "Who did this to you?"
Mm-hmm.
normally would be kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm going into it knowing that everything is wrong,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that impact is not felt.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and that makes sense in the sense at least in the idea that you're saying. It's almost like, there's a difference between watching the Star Wars prequels if you've never seen or never heard of the original trilogy of Star Wars. Like, the impact of it is like, whoa, wait, this guy is like going off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but if you're kind of like, well, yeah, he has to go off the rails. It's like you're waiting for that to happen, and you're wondering, like, you might be wondering, like, well, why is it taking so long?
Part of the thing for me was the weirdness, because we all kind of expected. There's a Facebook user in chat saying, I think it's going to be more like House of M. And I mean, that's something everybody thinks of, even just looking at that bottle of wine in the commercial. Like, but I can guarantee you it's going to be nothing like House of M, because that shit was amazing. But this show is even like taking into consideration. Oh, go ahead.
I noticed a lot of people saying they think it's like House of M. Have never actually read House of M.
That could be so.
But the thing is, even with House of M, you can't just start at House of M. Like, that's part of the problem with bringing it, because you got to go back to like Disassembled almost and kind of see how everything, because it's especially that little story arc. It's a build up, and it's little. It's very like when I'm sure when Marvel hired Bendis was like, hey, what's your 5-year plan, young man? And he goes, House of M. And then it builds towards that and Civil War and shit, But that's beside the point. But taking what Joe said about how the awkwardness and the eeriness and the shock factor of it kind of goes away, it's almost like, because you kind of know that something's wrong, they should have done a better job at presenting those eeriness. And it just felt, because of picking the sitcom motif, it kind of comes off watered down. Whereas you get a show like Legion, and that shit's fucking amazing. Something's wrong, but it's disturbing to look at times. And it plays with the whole jumping of eras too. It's a weird show. I don't know that I like weird shows. I don't think WandaVision is all that weird. That's weird for people who don't like weird. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's an interesting take, Mo. But I hear what you're saying, and I don't think I can necessarily disagree with any of it, because
you even haven't watched Legion, so like,
say what?
How is that? You haven't even watched Legion, so how amazing is that?
Why would you say I haven't watched Legion? I watched Legion.
I know you haven't.
Why are you talking to me like I'm not the biggest X-Men fan on this show?
Fake ass X-Men fan.
Oh, listen. Okay, look. I can't wait to see you soon. Can't wait. Look, I don't care what you got. I'll catch you. And then you go catch something too. These hands, you gonna catch these hands, Mo.
that dragon dick. I can't wait till next week's episode where all these jokes make sense.
In chat, Tiger Class says these 2 episodes were hinting at something that seems to point in the direction of it possibly being Mephisto.
What? How in the world, Tiger Claw, do you jump to?
Tiger Claw's been watching those YouTubers I talked about last week.
Listen, and here's the thing. It's like, I like, obviously I do a show about comics, but I enjoy taking in material about comic books as much as the next guy, whether that's articles or videos and stuff like that. I can't do too much of it because I don't want to mess around and be like become the person that Mo hates, the regurgitator. I don't want to be talking and saying things other people are saying or whatever. But I'm just like, I don't understand these people that are like making these leaps, because I've heard all types of stuff talking about this show, and I'm just like why Mephisto? Like, and I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying it couldn't be Mephisto.
Like, I would think Molecule Man.
Nah, but even
only because of that guy in the beekeeper outfit.
What? Like, why is the guy in the beekeeper outfit Molecule? Like, why is that invoke Molecule Man?
Because there was that one episode where Molecule Man wore a weird hat. when he was in that bucket.
Mo's doing what these YouTubers are doing.
Right,
but-
exactly.
No, seriously.
It makes sense if you've read that issue. Remember that one-off issue with Molecule Man?
It makes as much sense as anything else anyone else has said, right? In fact, I would say it makes more sense because Mo went to the comics.
Like the episode where the lady says, "Oh, the devil's in the details," and then Agnes is like, "That's not the only like that's a huge like that. That's a spoiler that it's Mephisto, according to these YouTubers. Like it's confirmed.
And
Mephisto confirmed.
Right.
So personally,
Go ahead,
I
Jay.
was leaning towards Mojo.
See, but it can't. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it can't be Mojo. Mojo,
But I know he does stuff with TV.
right?
That
Right.
Look, if it was that, I'd be like Disney's fucking genius. Like, fuck comics. Give me
Right. But here's the thing: Mojo is X-Men stuff, and they're not trying to do X-Men stuff quite yet. I don't think.
or
Like,
are they?
right. And that's, and that's the thing where it's like people keep talking about House of M, and right because of that wine bottle mode. Like I can't tell you how many videos, and I was like, and I've heard like the best theory I've heard is maybe it's a potential reverse House of M, and that's how they're going to introduce mutants into the MCU as opposed to taking mutants out of the MCU, which doesn't make sense still because it's like Scarlet Witch is not a mutant in the MCU. Now you could say,
And
okay,
she's not American.
yeah, but I don't think Scarlet Witch was ever American, right?
No, but she had an accent, and she doesn't anymore.
In the MCU, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I will say this: the accent did progressively fade away, and I can't be mad at that in the sense that she had she had a strong accent the first time you see her. Then she had a less strong accent the next time you see her, which is technically like a couple years later. And then I feel like by the time you get to like Endgame, she has no accent at all, but she's been living in America. And that happens to some people.
Not to Melania.
What is
Well, she speaks seven
It's
languages.
America.
Huh?
She
Wait,
speaks
what?
7 languages, so they all kind of make a weird accent.
Are we talking about Melania or are we talking about Wanda?
Because she used to sound like Melania Trump, and then all of a sudden, after 2016, Scarlet Witch loses her accent. She don't want to sound like Be Best.
Jay, what were you saying?
Oh, so Melania hates America, so she wouldn't adopt the accent.
Got it. Look, we will take that comment and archive it. Makes sense to us.
That might be the title of this episode. Melania hates America.
Makes as much sense as I saw a wine bottle at House of M.
It's House of Melania.
Y'all just random YouTubers to me now.
Hey, listen. But so I'm just but here's the thing. I'm just like, it doesn't I don't know why Wanda would wish for a whole bunch of like superpowered beings to exist all of a sudden. It doesn't make sense in the reverse sense either. But either way, it's like
Even how she brings them out to existence, like what's she gonna say? More mutants. Like she's gonna whisper more mutants.
She don't even know what the fuck a mutant is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she's gonna do. She's gonna
more Fox. More Fox. That's what she's gonna say.
More Fox?
Yeah, more Fox stuff.
So anyway,
I'll tell you my theory. My theory.
Let's hear your theory, Oz.
It's
Make
Steve
it
Rogers.
good.
Steve Rogers is behind all this.
Steve Rogers.
Not good Steve Rogers. Hail Hydra Steve Rogers. And that's why Chris Evans is going to be back in the MCU as Captain America. But they didn't say it's going to be Hail Hydra Captain America. And he's from another dimension. And he came back and fought real Captain America when he had all the stones in the suitcase, beat the crap out of him, took the stones, and is warping reality around Wanda. And when she figures it out, there's going to be a huge explosion. All the stones are going to go back where they're supposed to go, but it's going to have a ripple effect that's going to create mutants not just on Earth but throughout the entire galaxy and beyond. And that's how we're going to get X-Men. And that same explosion is what creates the Fantastic Four. Boom! I just gave you 10 more years. I just gave you Phase 5. Done.
Can you send me a link to that YouTube video that you watched?
You just watched it. I just made that up.
Look, it sounds.
Look, we would have to cut that out and put that as like.
It sounds.
That's my one shot.
It sounds just as credible as all the other YouTubers that I've heard. Like, yeah, sure. You're right, Oz. You're right. You go, boy. You go.
You could get like the golden play button with that video.
The golden play button.
But anyway, so this show, I watched it.
What do you think of it, Oz?
I'm glad they put out 2 episodes because that first episode was kind of crap.
Really?
If I'm looking at it from the point of view of somebody that hasn't seen every other goddamn MCU movies and read the comics and has an idea what's happening, I think Joe's the one that kind of, I don't know if it was Joe or Mo. You guys all look the same to me. One of them.
I get Mo and Joe confused all the time.
Whichever one said that,
the haters do.
Whichever one said that, they felt like they spent too much time making it in that 50s style and kind of watered down the mystery of it. That's how I see episode 1. It was a lot of, I kind of get what they're going for, but even I watch a lot of those black and white shows, and I didn't think the first one was even funny. Like I gave it a pass because I figured they're setting everything up, and it's gonna start to ramp up as we go through it. Then episode 2 came around, and that was more entertaining, just as a 50s, or I guess at that point they're in the 60s.
60s, yeah.
60s style sitcom that actually like had a better plot. I enjoyed that more, even though I don't understand how Vision can get gummed up when he can phase through solid objects. But
he's not real Vision; he's a construct.
Yeah,
that's how that gets away.
Okay,
and even like her chaos magic, like that's what I liked about the first episode, where the chaos magic, where she's like thinking about the chicken, and because she doesn't have a handle on it, it turns into just eggs. Like, because that's the chaos magic. I'm like, that's the one time they get their power right, and it's not done well. Because it makes them look all 50s.
All right, so yeah, it's a little bit better. But yeah, just the episode by itself, what they were trying to do worked a lot more. Where there's something they have to do, and then one of them screws up somehow, and the other one is kind of fighting to make everything work. And then you still have a little bit of that mystery creeping in. It was overall episode 2 was a lot better. I'm glad they put them together, because if I'm just watching the first one and I'm not already invested, I'm kind of, I wouldn't watch the second one right away. I would eventually I'll probably get to it when someone told me, oh, it's better. But I wouldn't be as eager as I am now.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
No, that definitely makes sense. And here's what I'll say, because I'm going to weigh in here, and you all know how long-winded I can be, so definitely jump in.
Wait. Give me like. Okay, go.
Okay. Oh, jeez. Here we go. Here's what I'll say. Is the first thing I'll say is this: if you're unfamiliar with 50s and 60s sitcoms, I'm not sure that you would enjoy this show. That's number one. Like, I can totally see that there might be the potential for someone that's never even heard of, or like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like the Dick Van Dyke Show, I Love Lucy, Bewitched. I'm not saying like these shows aren't a part of the cultural zeitgeist, because they are. But I'm just saying the fans of the MCU span from people that obviously watched those shows when they came out all the way to millennials. And so it's kind of like, if you're the people that are watching this that were like, yeah, I watched Dick Van Dyke when it came out, you're like, this is amazing. If you're a millennial, I don't know if I can be mad at you if you're like, what is this?
But see, I can be mad.
Why? How can you be mad?
Look, you got Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens. That's just Dick Van Dyke and Ralph Cramden, like, and Fred Flintstone. Like, it's all the same shit. Homer Simpson, like, it's the same shit. You have some frame. You have some frame of reference, even if it's not the exact thing they're doing.
You don't have like, when I hear what you were saying, and I'm not mad at you because you're right in the sense that you're talking about foundation.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you is, like, look at Oz. Oz literally just gave us his take, right? First episode was crap. Second episode was much better.
But he didn't like Dick Van Dyke Show.
Well, but that's the point I'm making, in the sense that the difference between the type of comedy you get from the 50s to the 60s, like the only difference between the two, like what Oz is demonstrating in his take is the cultural sensibilities and the evolution in comedy that comes from what was happening in the 50s versus what was happening in the 60s. Like, the 50s was still much more like slapstickish kind of things happening, and you have like look, being a person that actually has seen episodes of the Dick Van Dyke Show, and don't get me wrong, like, I can't mess around and say to you like, oh, I'm a big Dick Van Dyke fan. I'm not.
I am.
And I think there are a lot of people that are, but there are others that don't even know who Dick Van Dyke is.
I think you're already getting it wrong. And as someone who tries to mock other YouTubers, I don't like us coming off as wrong.
How am I getting it wrong?
Because Dick Van Dyke is the 60s.
Yeah, no. But it's the 60s the same way like 1990 was like the 80s. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
They did a little gag. They did a visual gag in that first episode that, like, it cracked me up because it's like him tripping over
exactly
the little ottoman, and he just went through it, and it's like that.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying, because Lawrence is saying that the 50s was more slapstick, but Dick Van Dyke was a slapstick show, where it showed like I Love Lucy, which was in the 50s, or The Honeymooners are more character driven, and yeah, there's some slapstick in there, but they're more character driven.
The 50 shows aren't more character driven.
I think they are.
I think you're wrong.
Well, you're the one that doesn't know about iZombie, so
I'm not the one that doesn't know about iZombie. Like, and that's the thing. It's like, literally, like, here's the thing: story and characters are much more developed in the 60s than they are in the 50s.
I would that. I think the 50s had more character.
No, that's not true.
Because the 50s is still coming right out of that radio era where characters and dialogue was more important.
You cannot talk about early 50s and 60s TV shows until you reach Satellite Standards.
Was that made in the 50s?
No,
but it might as well. Yeah. But no.
I didn't have a color TV till I was in junior high school. So trust me, I watched a lot of these old ass shows.
I used to color my TV with washable crayon.
Just because your TV's in black and white doesn't mean you're watching black and white shows. It just means that the shows you're watching only show in black and white. That's different.
It means you had a bad
right? You understand that, right? You're watching The Price is Right. It was in color.
You're also making the assumption that I had control over the remote. So I was watching, trust me, I was watching old ass shows in English and Spanish. Where do you think my love for Cantinflas and El Santo came from?
All I'm saying is, it doesn't matter what show you watch, they all show up in black and white because that's what your TV does.
Am I the only one that wants the Munsters episode?
Oh, dude. Like a Munsters. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. It's not going to happen but it doesn't make sense in the format. Because
Well, it makes sense not by episode 3. It doesn't, but it could have been. He could have easily been episode 2 or
no,
1.
Yeah, no, especially
They're strange. They're strange people moving in next door to.
you need a whole family,
No, look. But
and they're trying to do
you could
family stuff.
have somebody look at Vision. Vision accidentally turns into robot form, and you have the boss go. Like that would work.
Mo already wrote a better show. You're right. I think Big Van Dyke should have been episode 1 and transition into Monsters episode 2. I think.
Like, I just want a Monsters moment. Like
it's too harsh of a transition.
I want.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be
like
good.
when he was gummed up, instead of being drunk, if he could just turn into android form and be like, "Excuse me, can you get me to the park?" And the guy's like, "Ah!" and he goes, and the guy runs away from him. Like that's a Monsters moment. I would have loved that instead of just being drunk because of gum.
So here's the next thing I'll say is that. So the first thing is if you're not familiar with sitcoms, I'm not sure if this show is gonna hit for you off the bat because they start basically the first episode is the 50s, the second episode is the 60s. Like if you're like a millennial or even I know people that aren't millennials that are a little bit older, not that old, but a little bit older that just didn't do TV like that. And so it's like they don't know, like these sitcoms aren't gonna hit home for them in the same way. And so, for the first thing is, if you're not a student of like sitcoms or sitcom history, you might kind of be like, why are we doing this? That's the first thing. The second thing is like it's equally, in my mind, for this to be the first thing that comes out from the MCU or from Marvel, after a year and 3 months, year and a half off, and this is the first thing that comes out, it's equal parts brave and like crazy because it's just like you're like. This is like Marvel basically kind of like, like basically swinging their balls around. They're like, hey, man, we could do whatever we want. Like, we made you love that raccoon and that talking tree. And guess what we're going to do now? Because it's like.
You're making it sound like they had a choice on.
Why would they not have a choice?
They didn't want to take the time off. They had to take the time off.
Listen.
WandaVision is the only one that's ready.
Okay. And guess what you could have done? You could have waited.
They've already waited too long. You just said we've had a year without an MCU.
What do you mean you waited too long? Look, so you can't make both arguments. You can't be like, hey, they didn't choose to take all this time off, and they have to put something out.
Like technically,
that's the same argument.
Paywall.
Hold on. That's the same argument because if they didn't choose to wait this long, then they have to put out something as soon as they can because they're already being held back artificially.
Listen, all of us knew what was supposed to happen was Black Widow. Then we were supposed to get Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then we were supposed to get WandaVision. That was the plan.
WandaVision's the only one done.
But
they have Falcon and the
Winter Soldier is still going to come out.
Right, but it's not done now. WandaVision is, so that's why WandaVision.
So you're saying like they couldn't wait until March if they wanted to, as opposed to January, and put out Falcon first and Winter Soldier first if they wanted to?
If they wanted to, but they
that's
can't.
what I'm saying. It's a choice.
It's a forced choice.
It's not forced.
It is forced because they're freaking out that they've
after a year and a half, this 2 months is the make or break moment.
Yes,
people are like MCU. We don't care what you do because
because
you waited too long.
HBO is coming right behind them, and they got to show that.
With what? Combine them with what?
With their streaming movies.
Come on, man! Like, listen. So you're saying that people are going to be like, okay, I don't want to like you all took too long. So in March, if you decide to come out with Falcon and Winter Soldier first, or Falcon and Winter Soldier first, the Falcon and Winter Soldier first in March, we don't have that kind of patience. Y'all took too long. We're over it.
I'm saying that the studio heads are saying Mandalorian ends on this date. What do we have next? What's ready? What can go now?
Right.
And it was WandaVision. So Mandalorian ends. Wait a couple weeks later, you got WandaVision, and that gives them time to finish up the rest and start throwing those right behind.
And if you're talking about Disney executives, I hear that argument. What I'm telling you is there's a guy, and his name is Kevin Feige. And if Feige was like, hey, it's going to mess our whole thing up if we put this out first, so we should put Falcon and Winter Soldier first and wait that 2 months, guess what the Disney folks are going to do? They're going to be like, well, if that's what you say, Kevin, we're going to do it.
I think you're giving Feige too much credit.
Yeah, because Feige doesn't deserve credit.
Because he doesn't have that power over the executives that you just agreed.
It's not power.
That to happen.
It's influence. Like, it's not saying it's his decision, but if Feige says you're going to mess the thing up, look, the executives aren't the one that created the MCU. He's
telling people you're going to mess it up. The people he's talking to are the people that think whatever we put out, they're going to fucking consume.
Listen,
you're put it out.
This is your DC bias. This is like you're talking like the Warner Brothers execs. Like that's how you all do stuff over there.
Okay. Oh, my bad.
That's not what Marvel does.
My bad. I thought all execs wanted money.
No, I'm asking
apparently Disney is the holy trinity, the two ears and the.
I mean, at the very least, we can agree that over there at Disney and at Marvel, they at least trust their people to curate some stuff.
I apologize that I have to trust anybody. Saint Mickey and thought that he might want money.
The AT&T overlords don't care about trying to make things work on a creative level,
right? And that's why they're putting crap out right now. You know what, Disney, we got to catch up because now Warner Brothers is being taken over by a company that wants to make money, and we're falling behind. They're going to take our subscribers.
So we got
to give people a reason to keep our service.
In your mind, the people over at Disney looked at what happened with like Wonder Woman, and they're like, "Oh, we're falling behind. We got to put something out right now."
They looked at the news from Warner's of what they're going to do, whether it's successful or not doesn't matter. If they see their competitor making a move, they got to make a move. They made this decision before we found out what happened.
So you, in your mind, Disney and Marvel are looking at the moves that Warner Brothers are making, and they're like, "Oh man, they're on our heels."
Disney is. If you have a service, you're going to look at what your competitors do, and you're going to try to outdo them.
But you don't feel like Disney Plus is in a much better spot than HBO Max
for now?
No. I mean, when you say for now, you mean yes, right? That means like Disney Plus is like, no, we're good, right?
Only because they put out WandaVision. Because they didn't.
Mandalorian had nothing to do with their success.
Mandalorian's done. You're talking about today. Mandalorian's done. If you don't have WandaVision, you have nothing.
But I'm saying, like, why would you? But you don't understand the idea that you're like it's not like this was like season 1 of the Mandalorian and we're trying some stuff out. It's season 2. They put it out and it was successful. They put out like Soul, that was successful. They put they're putting stuff out. It's not like you're making it seem like Disney Plus is out here trying to play catch up to HBO Max because Warner Brothers put out a statement saying like all of our movies that we were going to put out in 2021 are coming to HBO Max at the same time, and it's like, so, I'm not saying that the Warner Brothers roster is terrible or anything. I want to see The Matrix. I want to see Dune. I want to see Godzilla, but I'm just saying that it's like that was a controversial. Like, you don't think that Disney could have been like, "Hey, Black Widow is coming to Disney Plus." Like, if they were afraid of Warner Brothers, that's what they would have done. But they didn't do that because they're like, we don't got to do what they do. We're Disney. We're Marvel. We're Star Wars. Like, we're good.
Okay, look, I'm just telling you how executives think. They look at the bottom line.
You're telling. I feel like you're telling me
they took a hit on the Mulan thing.
You're telling me
they were gonna have 2 months of no content when their competitors putting stuff out. Hey,
you're telling me how AT&T, Warner Brothers, DC executive
wasn't the WandaVision release date set before DC made any announcement? Warner Brothers made any announcement for HBO Max?
It might have been. I don't know.
I think it was.
It very well might have been. I guess my thing is more than anything, it's like I think they just felt strongly enough about the finished product that they were like, we're going to put it out.
I think they felt that there was going to be a huge gap after Mandalorian was done, and they needed something to fill it. And WandaVision is what they had, and that's why it was scheduled. At what point they scheduled it doesn't matter. They had nothing. They needed something. It's what was done, so it's what went first.
No, I mean,
next week, DC will fill that gap with Dragon Dick.
Listen, what I will say is this: is if you're saying that what you believe is that the executives over at Disney Plus are trying to make sure that there's a new show that they feel will appeal to their audience every week. Like, I 100% agree with you in the sense that I feel like as soon as Mandalorian's done, they're trying to have an MCU thing. And as soon as the MCU thing is done, they're trying to have, like, you know, whatever they think, like the next, like, whether it be Star Wars thing or the next Marvel thing or the
It'll be another MCU thing. They don't have any Star Wars stuff ready. It's gonna be another MCU thing.
Oh,
whatever.
Okay. I mean, like, you're saying it like people don't want to see whatever else it is. Like,
no, I'm saying it like that's what's gonna happen. How you want to interpret it, it's up to you. I'm telling you what's gonna happen.
If Disney Plus was just okay, here's your Star Wars show, here's your Marvel show, here's your Star Wars show, here's your Marvel show. Guess what? That probably works. Like, there are probably people that would that to be the case.
That's what I'm telling you. That's what they're doing. They had an empty space. They needed something to fill it. They threw WandaVision in, and then when WandaVision, that gives them time. That buys them a few months to finish Falcon and Winter Soldier. So when WandaVision finishes, throw that in. That's going to give them time to finish Loki. That goes in there, and by that point, you might start getting some of these movies out too.
We have 3 more, 2 minutes and 10 seconds to keep this round and round going. Is there anything else you got to talk about WandaVision?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, what I'm just basically trying to say is, it's a bold move. I'm not certain if it's going to work or not, just because I feel like there's a certain amount of the audience that may not connect with this particular format for those first 2 episodes. At the same time, though, they're going to go to 70s sitcoms next. And in the same way how Oz was talking about how he found the 60s sitcoms funnier because, as you go through the decades, comedy changes. 70s sitcoms and that kind of comedy. Huh?
That's not what I said at all, but go ahead.
Yeah.
What did you not say?
I didn't say I enjoyed 60s more. I said their version of the 50s was crap. They did a better job when they got to the 60s.
Isn't that what I just said?
No, because I like 60s shows. I'm saying WandaVision did a crappy job on their 50s and did better on their 60s. But you're saying I don't like 60s, the whole 60s genre at all.
I'm literally saying the opposite of that. I'm saying you like the 60s more.
Oh, then you're definitely wrong because I enjoyed the shows from the 50s more. I love Lucy and Honeymooners. I forget what decade Monster.
Now you're saying the opposite of what you just said?
Look, you got 40 seconds to rate this piece of shit.
I'm sitting here like, look, I don't know what Oz is trying. Like, Oz is like, oh, well,
you're the host.
You agree with that? I'm going to take the opposite portion. I'm like, well, I don't listen, dude. Like, whatever makes you feel better. You can disagree with me whichever way you choose to. And
24 seconds.
All the stuff. Oh, listen, what I'm saying is this: is I feel like the next episodes as we get to the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, they're going to start resonating with people more. And I think they're going to start, of course, the underlying story, like the mystery that will be unpacked, is going to get more and more impact in each of these episodes. It's crazy. Like, they have sword logos in there, which I don't know if you all saw that or not.
Everybody saw that.
It was an upside down cross.
I did.
Though.
Yeah, no, I don't think everybody did, because it's like so, like it's not. Yeah, because it's like it's like a modified version of the logo from the comic, and they changed the name apparently, which I didn't even know. I don't know how people know this stuff, because
It's not sword anymore.
well,
It's sword,
still
but
sword, but the in the comic, sword is sentient. I mean, not sentient. It's but
But they did that with Shield too.
they did that with Shield. Disney's way of doing it.
yeah, but they tell you that in the movie. In this, they just changed it. I'm like, how do
If
people
you need to know, they'll tell you after. Look, at this point, they don't want to change it, but they have to because they don't want to. Because they don't want to pay Bendis. They don't want to
feel like this segment feels like it's been going on since the 60s.
Yeah. They don't want to pay Joss Whedon more, because he created Sword.
And he's racist. Wait,
you still got to pay Joss Whedon whether you change the name or not.
Maybe not as much.
No,
You don't know his contract, Larry.
Look, you still got to pay Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
So either way,
Warner Brothers proved you don't.
no, listen.
They
Joss
set the
Whedon
legal
got removed. No, you noticed there was no report that was like, oh, Joss Whedon didn't get paid. Nobody was like, we didn't cut his check. So anyway, so there's a lot of stuff happening in the show. It's interesting. I personally enjoyed it, but I don't know, like, if you're not a student of TV or sitcom television, I don't know if you would. And we'll see.
I don't know who's interested in watching a TV show that the reviewer who enjoys it points out that you have to be a student of something. Like, I don't watch TV to learn.
Clearly.
Right, exactly. Jay, what would you rate WandaVision?
I would give it a 3 out of 5. Like, I like the sitcom stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't sold me on the mystery yet, but I actually do really enjoy the comedy. Yeah, I enjoy the comedy.
Just before, like, there's no comments in chat or anything that we need to talk about before we.
Let's see.
Tiger Claw in chat says WandaVision leads directly to Doctor Strange 2, but they haven't filmed that one yet. They're busy filming Spider-Man 3 at the moment, so it's a long way to see the end result of that. He also wanted to know if everyone loves seeing drunk Vision, which I did.
There it is. Jay loved it.
Paul Bettany did a good job at that, but again, Vision's a construct, so it's okay.
Oz, what would you rate WandaVision?
Episode 1, 2. Episode 3, 3.5. 3. Episode 2, sorry.
So a 3 average?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Between the two of them. Yeah. 3.
Got you. Moses Magnum, what would you rate WandaVision?
Being a student of sitcoms, you can get me to watch any sitcom for a few episodes. And as far as sitcoms go, I could keep watching this one, partly because of that little bit of mystery. I know Joe's not sold on it, but I'm not that sold on it either. But look, I was hoping the sitcom gimmicky shit would be over by episode 2 and we'll get into the real shit. But that's clearly not happening. So, I give it a 4 because they actually do play with the style. Like, they shot it with the actual, like, in the actual way. Maybe not film, but those camera lighting and wardrobe
strings to lift everything.
Yeah.
But and here's the thing: when, like Joe mentioned earlier, when it switches to, like, she's looking at the camera, you can tell it's still done in a 50 style, but you could tell that it's shot in 4K at like 60 frames per second. and that adds a whole other level of eeriness in terms of like you're not used to seeing one like I Love Lucy like that or the Munsters like that. You're not used to seeing them upscaled, you know. So to me, like that technical aspect of it, but again, I'm just a snob for shit like that. But for me, that gives it a 4. Like
So
the technical.
You think they should have made it fuzzy like glamour shots in the 90s?
When it gets to the 90s, maybe. But no, I just they did do it like it looked like it was a show. It looked like Mayberry, you know, like the set of that town square with the gazebo looked like Mayberry. I could have seen, you know, fucking Gomer Pyle singing with that deep voice, and then go shows I am. But
And then he turns into a dip. No.
But it just, you know, it looked like it, and then when it switches to the eeriness, like you can tell that it's just it looks like it, but in 4K at 60 frames per second. So it like that adds to the eeriness. Like when she's noticing shit, it swaps frame rate and quality, and that adds. It's really subtle, but it worked. That for me, that gives it a 4. They did. On the technical level, they created something. That's some Kubrick shit.
Mm-hmm.
But these men are no Kubrick.
Nah.
I was just waiting for them to fix the aspect ratio.
You're so crazy.
You know, yeah, I got tired of looking at it like that. But,
Did you really?
I mean, yeah.
How can you? It's a 50s sitcom. Or
yeah, but I look. I'm one of those dudes that used to buy the letterbox version of movies on VHS. You know what I mean?
No, but that's a whole different thing, though, because letterbox, it's 100% a different thing.
Right, but if you watch Seinfeld when it aired, and then you watch it now in a different aspect ratio, it in some instances it's better.
I mean, you're talking about Seinfeld, which was in the 90s,
right? It was still shot in a 4:3 aspect ratio.
Yeah, but like you can't do that with Dick Van Dyke.
Again, I'm not watching Dick Van Dyke. I'm watching WandaVision. Like it's fine if you want
WandaVision that's trying to be Dick Van Dyke.
Look, it should be trying to be Wanda and Vision having kids like in the comics. They shouldn't try to be. They shouldn't put that much work trying to be like a TV show. They should try to be like the comic. I want to see that kind of work ethic. I want to see that kind of work ethic for the source material of the comics, not the fucking 50s sitcom.
Well, let's talk about that real quick, because don't get me wrong. By no means am I going to try to sit here and say to you like, oh, it's totally taking the source material from the comic. However, did you read Tom King's vision?
Look, again, I have not.
That's technically a yes or no question. Okay,
It's a no. It's a no. But
okay, so Tom King's vision is a suburbia setting.
Right? Because this show was on Pocket. Like he got hired by the Mouse to make a comic that is going to feel like the TV show that they're pushing.
No,
so I get it.
No. What are you talking about? This is all predates Disney.
Yeah, by a year or so.
What does that have to do with like? So you're saying because it happened before Disney in too short of a time, it doesn't count?
No, when did it come out? What's the publication date?
If it came out before Disney, then it's not influenced by Disney.
It literally predates Disney. I don't know what the exact date.
Look, you can't say literally if you don't know the date.
Well,
look, somebody can look up the date of the Tom King comic and the Disney buy, and we can compare and contrast. What I'm saying to you is like, what I can tell you is this for certain. When Disney bought Marvel and this comic came out, it wasn't Disney saying like, hey, make the Vision comic like this. Because
it says this was January 23rd, 2018.
Okay, look, that I feel like that Tom King comic is like a 2015 comic. I don't
Which is after Disney bought it.
It's not after 2015?
Yeah, look. Okay, Disney bought. I had a memory on Facebook because my MySpace used to update my Facebook when Disney bought it. So that tells you how long ago Disney bought Marvel.
What I can tell you is this. Disney did not tell Tom King to write this Vision comic in this way because we're going to make a show about Wanda and Vision 5 years later.
Is this just like that show?
You don't know that, Lawrence. You can't say that for sure. You don't know.
I can absolutely say that for certain.
Oh, because you're in the investors meeting?
In 2017, when was the WandaVision show announced?
When is the Tom King comic?
Also, pardon me, the trade came out 2017.
Okay, when did the comic come out?
Looking that up still.
And when was the Marvel Disney buy? Because I'm just saying, it's like, dude,
Marvel Disney buy was like 2010, 2011. Yeah, it's got to be like 2009, 2010.
We're all the way to 2009?
Oh, so you're saying Disney doesn't have a long-term plan?
I'm not saying they don't have a long-term plan. I'm just saying, like,
that's exactly what you just said.
I'm saying, like, you're basically saying 3 years into Fantastic Forum, Disney bought Marvel. I don't think that's true.
That's absolutely true. Like, they bought it like right after the first Avenger.
But the first Avengers movie is like 11 or 12, right?
Well, no, they bought it before it came out.
Iron Man 1 is like 2008, right?
Right.
So Iron Man 2 came out before the Avengers came out, right?
Right.
Okay, and then that means that Captain America and Thor came out before Iron Man 2, right?
They had already bought it by then because the Thor and Captain America, they changed distribution from Paramount to like Disney. There was a whole problem with them getting in theaters.
So I'm looking it up, and August 31st, 2009 was when Disney bought Marvel.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So 2009 is when Disney bought Marvel in August. When did the Vision comic come out?
2016.
Okay. So what we're trying to say is in 2016, Disney told Tom King to write Vision as a suburbia scenario so that in 2020 they can
No. Not 2020. It was supposed to come out earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, talk about
2019.
Yeah.
They can make a WandaVision TV show.
3-year plan sounds about right.
Look, it takes about 5 years to make a movie. So a TV show for 3 years seems about right.
That's
I'm just buying it.
ridiculous. I don't.
I mean, you don't have to buy it. You already bought the comic and you're buying the TV show. So what the fuck do they care?
Look,
They need somebody that sees through the blur like me.
what I will say to you is that
Call me cute.
is like the Vision comic is clearly just like everything else in the MCU. It's clearly an inspiration, but it's not a direct one-to-one. Like literally, Vision
So
created.
they didn't even follow that either.
What I'm saying is,
So your argument is bullshit. All right, next,
Oh, it's my
Immortal Warrior.
shit. You haven't even heard my argument.
They don't even follow that comic that you're citing.
What I'm saying to you is, you're saying that they follow the comic. I'm telling you,
I'm asking if they follow the comic.
No, you're not asking. You're telling me. You're like Disney told Tom King to write it this way.
No.
That's what you all are saying, and I'm telling you, you're wrong, and I'm right because I read the comic, and you all don't know what you're talking about.
You know, it's funny that we get to this point because I made a comment about aspect ratio.
Hold on.
We should have been done with this.
Yeah, it is your fault, but I want to hear what Joe says.
No, I was just saying by you all, you mean Mo and Oz.
I do mean Mo and I, not you, Jay, because you got the good sense to be
Yeah,
quiet.
I mean, look,
you don't know about.
we all know. We all know Star-Lord's mask didn't get changed. His personality didn't get changed before the movie came out. So yeah,
No, we're talking about Guardians. The Guardians absolutely got hijacked by Disney. Nobody's saying that's not the case.
What you're trying to say,
I was the first one who was mad about it.
what you're trying to say is that Tom King is a little more nuanced and masterful at giving you the plan and making you feel that.
Why didn't Feige say, "Hey, don't mess with the Guardians of the Galaxy"? you're gonna fuck up our plans.
Because nobody knows anything about the Guardians of the Galaxy except for me and 24 other people. That's
Look,
us.
Kevin Feige didn't know about it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Look, when I said nobody and 24 other people, I was including Feige. I'm talking about.
Look, let's do Immortal Warrior already. We're already.
Listen. Can I go ahead and give my rating?
No,
For WandaVision.
no, because you love
We
it.
already know it's a 5 out of 5.
It's not a 5 out of 5.
Oh no, 10 out of 5.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, you're right, Oz. It's a 10 out of 5 because I'm you, and I'm like, yes, everything that DC does is amazing.
No, it's 10 out of 5 because you can't explain it right, including math.
By the way, Larry, thank you for this. Cazadores.
My pleasure, buddy.
Wait, did you just finish a bottle of Jägermeister and now you're on tequila?
Well, I finished both already. This is
Like I thought you were drinking beer and then you turned the bottle a little bit. Like that's a fucking bottle of Jaeger. He's down.
Yeah.
Mo's not drinking tomorrow.
Hunter Master.
All right,
That
what's
was,
next?
They
that
call
was
him
a prop
Big
Jägermeister. By the way. The Jägermeister was a prop. It was
I'm
the Diet Coke with whiskey. Sorry, Larry.
4. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. Next thing, let's do Immortal Warrior. The Immortal Warrior. Jay. Yes, we must. We look. Hey. I don't like your negativity. We must. Jay, talk about the Immortal Warrior. What is it?
The Immortal Warrior is a movie about a man named Abugar, who's part of the Tupanaba tribe, who's blessed by Munya to live forever as long as he fights Anhanga and never gives up fighting. It takes place through different periods in the history of Brazil, starting with 1566, when the French come and they get the people to fight the Portuguese, and they end up getting wiped out, to 1825, where he's fighting, helping fight slavery and fight the Turkish government, to the 1950s, where they're fighting the dictatorship government, military dictatorship, to 2096, where they're fighting for water. And it's basically a love story, because this warrior,
It's only a love story.
love of his life, named Jaina, who basically is reborn every so often, and he finds her and rekindles their infinite love together. And yeah, that's basically what it is. Mo, you obviously have some stuff you want to say about it. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I was like, man, okay, this sounds tight. He's gonna be fighting. This deity empowers this guy to keep fighting, but that's the fine print. Keep fighting, not to defeat. So he never progresses anything except for fucking this chick generation to generation. So this is really like a date rapist, like wet dream. Like he just waits for this chick to be born so he could get laid again. Like it's not, watch The Fountain.
Watch the That's so funny. I'm sorry.
It's true though. It's true. That's what the fountain is just a guy trying to beat cancer on 3 different timelines. And it's like it's that. Like eventually he just transcends and cancer still gets there because you know what? Cancer is built into us to get you to stop living. Yeah. So this is like I was in like I like the idea of learning of the conquistadors of Brazil because I'm not well versed in those because I got nobody in my. There was a girl that I liked in high school that was Brazilian, but she was really white. So I'm like, yeah, she yeah. She was blonde hair, blue eyes. So, and that's the closest I got to like Brazilian culture. And then this is like, okay, I like this idea. I've dabbled with ideas of creating my own shit like that with Mesoamerican shit, and it's like, oh, I like this, and nah, this is just a guy that just I like how he gets the power. It's like one of those totem moments. Like it reminds me of the Spider-Man with the spider totem, and so that's cool. But
Mo,
the guy really does nothing with it other than
Mo,
get laid.
let me ask you something, Mo.
Yeah.
If the movie was called something different, if it was called maybe something like
Immortal Love.
Rio 2096 Love and Fury, would that change your opinion?
I know it does have a different name in Brazil, so I could have like even the Fury part. Like he's not that furious. Like he doesn't fight. Like he literally he survives the last third of the movie. He survives by not fighting and just waiting for the chick. Like he just gives up. So it's like he's not really a warrior. I get it. Like in the second time that she gets reincarnated and gets a family. And then you see how that goes. And it's like everything in this movie tells you, you know what, just keep fighting and just keep killing because these fucking humans are just going to repeat everything. So why not just eradicate all of them? And you can just have the power. Like, that's really it. Like, just make sure. And then eventually some paramecium or something will evolve and that'll be the pick you fuck, 3,000 years after humanity has been destroyed by you. Like, because ultimately it's just about who he's going to fuck in the next 25 years or so.
Okay. So, Oz, what did you think?
It's basically a Hawkman Hawkgirl love story with political undertones. So I'm out. I've seen that story. I've seen how it ends.
I tried looking at it like that to like it, but it just at least in between they meet each other, they do something. And here it's like they do, but even the people in their wake of this like star-crossed lover thing, like they don't. I don't even care if they get hurt through it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind a star-crossed lover movie or story or whatever, and I vaguely interested in the Hawkman Hawkgirl aspect of it, but when you start getting to now he's fighting for political reasons, even though he's supposed to fight this dude, it's just okay, I see what you're trying to do. I'm out. I don't need that.
Mary Young, what did you think?
I mean, I personally, from a story perspective, I liked it. I thought that it was generally a good story. And, honestly, my gripe with it was the animation. I felt like this like literally that same exact story, but with like better animation, I think would have come across completely different. And don't get me wrong, I hear what Mo and Oz are saying, and I can understand where they're coming from. At the same time, the politics of it doesn't really bother me. And because I didn't feel like, here's the thing, the politics were obvious, but at the same time, they weren't like heavy-handed. And that I feel like that's kind of the main thing, where it's like, when your message feels like it's hitting your audience over the head, that's when I'm like, ugh, like, what are you doing here? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have that message, because I might agree with the message. What I'm saying is, you told people they were coming to see a movie, and if you tell people you're coming to see a movie, but what you're really doing is like feeding them a pamphlet, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like friggin' hitting them with like propaganda, basically. That's when everything breaks apart for me. This doesn't feel like propaganda. It obviously had a obvious message to it, but it felt like it was intertwined with the story they were trying to tell enough to me that I was like, okay, I'm down with it. It's just the big gripe for me was like, okay, the animation is kind of no good.
Yeah.
And you step up to a whole nother level for like I honestly feel like people's impression of this entire story would be completely different if it was like Studio Ghibli.
So Lawrence prefers that it be made by Asian slave labor.
Yeah. What I'm looking for in my animation is Asian slavery, because that's what makes me feel good.
What
I'm joking.
What I got, the message I got from this,
get that last part out, you savages.
the message I got from in fact, that's the title of this episode. What I need from my animation is slave labor. A Mayor Young original. The message I did get from this is, Larry, like with all the criticism I have, it did have the message, and it's that the indigenous gods are just as useless as the Christian gods.
Mo's like, whatever feels the most anti-religious is what I want to go for.
Well,
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, because it's like really, it's just the same bullshit. It's like you empower this guy to do nothing, and that's that's all it. Like it's nothing. Humanity is destined to destroy itself. We are our own cancer.
Okay. So
my take was not quite that nihilistic. but hey, what do I know?
Like after your WandaVision chunk, nothing.
Nothing. It turns out I don't know anything about sitcoms.
To really enjoy it, you have to be a student of Brazilian politics and revolution.
I don't know anything about Vision comics, Wanda comics. I don't know anything about Brazil.
Finally, one honest thing on this show.
I don't know anything about. Listen, I'm out here clueless. I'm like, wait, what happened? What happened? Who did it? What's their name?
So what would you guys rate this? Mo, what would you rate it?
Look, I like Rodrigo Santoro, and I want him to get paid. So I give him a 2. Like this movie gets.
I want him to get paid. I'll give him a 2.
You don't want to get paid that bad though.
No,
2 out of 5.
I mean, if you didn't know who that guy was, it'd be like a 1.
No, it'd be like a 0.5. Like I like the power set. He didn't do nothing with it. He didn't fly beyond that first scene.
Oh, he flies at the end.
Oh, so you weren't watching the movie. Okay.
Yeah, look, I watched it, but the thing is, the warrior.
And so you said he only flew once, and since he flies like a bunch of times, it kind of feels like you didn't watch it.
Look, either time it wasn't useful as him fighting the other deity. He could have flied 100 times.
Look,
he didn't fight the other deity.
I was giving the benefit of the doubt, thinking that he was talking about fly as a human.
That's what I was thinking.
He flew as a human twice.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. He flew twice.
I said once.
Right. No, I agree.
Well, the first time was the one that mattered, and the second time was what? What was the second time? Look, I didn't watch it. Enlighten me. Why did he fly the second time?
Why did he fly? Or
to get to the other side.
To what purpose?
Because Oz was right. He flew to get to the other side.
All right. None of those
much like the proverbial chicken.
Right. None of those were to defeat the Myang Yang or whatever the fuck you call that villain.
What?
None of those were to defeat the Myang Yang or whatever.
I'm just
See,
saying.
that's the thing. I think you might be taking us like. Well, never mind. Go ahead. You do you.
No, say it, Jay. Look, Look, say it with your chest, Jay. Say it with your chest, because you're in it. Say
Jay,
it.
you're here to call us on our bullshit.
It's
So
checks
I-
about
Especially those two.
Okay, we're thinking about him literally fighting the demon,
You're
but
right.
that's never what this was about. This was about fighting his influence, fighting the invaders because the demon lived in them, fighting for freedom when the demon was like part of the is basically the people, the oppressors. Like
Right.
the oppressors' works were the influence of the demon, and fighting
Right.
the oppressors is fighting the demon. That's how you fight him.
Right.
It's not literally going to the demon and having.
Right. So how did he fight them?
How did he fight? Well,
Yeah.
he.
I mean, he literally fights to the death the first time.
Yeah, he.
Look, he's a big boy. You don't need to help him.
You know what?
He made his thing. Okay.
Oh, hold on. Listen, Joke. Look, if you say Joe can do it on his own, I'll let you. Like,
That's the thing. Like he's the one saying, "I'm not doing it right." You told him to speak from the chest. All of a sudden, you're like, "Well, he fought to the death to the." Look, this ain't jail, Larry. You can't have the back of somebody. This is Fantastic Forum. This is harder than jail.
Listen. Well, if that's the case, then tell Oz to let go of your pocket. Then.
Look, he's making sure I'm relaxed with his hand in my pocket.
He fought his tribe. He fought to keep his tribe from going to war with the Portuguese by cutting down the trees. When that didn't work, he fought by taking the survivors, trying to get the survivors away. He was killed.
And when they told him what this demon was gonna do, what did they tell him he was gonna do?
When the what?
When he was given the powers were bestowed on him. They said, "Oh, this demon's gonna do this." What did they tell him the demon was gonna do?
What did they tell him the demon was going
It
to
was gonna
do?
pollute the land, chop off the trees. Like it was gonna come with other people from across the sea. So he stopped the fight with the Portuguese. He cut off the trees. He propagated that initial cut hair of an idea of deforesting and polluting the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, I don't see that at all.
Well, that's what happened. And here's the thing: if the movie, like you said earlier, if the movie wasn't called Immortal Warrior, like
Which technically it's not.
it's not, but that. Look, when you sent me that pre-production text, watch Immortal Warrior. When I hit the search, it says watch Immortal Warrior.
What you're doing though is blaming Joe for American marketing.
No, I'm not blaming Joe for American marketing. I'm blaming Joe for my review of this movie. Like,
which is because of American marketing, though.
I'm watching Immortal Warrior. I'm watching Immortal Date Raping.
Now, how is it date rape?
It's not date rape.
She consents, right? Every time.
I mean, she
Yeah.
consents, but he knows. She
minute.
doesn't know that he's reincarnated and
He's consenting to date rape. Like, are you even? She's consenting to date rape. That's what you just said. You know how that does not make any sense.
oh no,
You have to know that.
look, stand before a judge when a drunk chick tells you raped her. Like that's
Oh boy,
like,
did that though? Who's the Indian dude?
yeah. Look, I'm not going to debate his merit. All I'm saying is this dude's being raised generation from generation, knowing that that's going to be her, so he could just swoop in.
They
And
literally tried to cancel him, and it didn't work.
Yeah, that's not date rape. That's
All right.
date rape is something different.
So love bombing. He love bombed her.
Wait,
Like he just
did
like
that happen to Scott Pilgrim, or is that something different?
I don't know what love bomb is, but it sounds.
I don't know. We're supposed to do a new story about
sex bomb.
Oh, sex bombing. That's different. That
Look,
sounds more nefarious.
all I know, all he did instead of actually like, because he didn't. Did he actually stop the demon at the end?
No, it's one of those fights.
Like, ongoing.
I rest my case.
He's immortal. He got another shot.
Is a sex bomb?
It's not a thing he can win. Like his goal isn't to win. The shaman didn't tell him you have to win. He said to fight.
Right.
And never give up fighting.
Yeah. Look, as useless as the Christian gods.
Damn. Moses don't respect Christian gods or Brazilian gods.
Well, I used to respect until I saw this movie.
His belief waffles. Like the things he says, like So you got Mo any other week, it's one thing or another.
Oh wait, Mo's belief or the guy in the movie?
Yeah. No, Mo's
waffle.
Oh, I think that is accurate for both, for Mo and for the guy in the movie.
Right.
You mean I believe in Jesus one week and not another?
No, I don't think you ever believe in Jesus.
No, not Jesus. But you have said you believe in gods before.
A higher power, higher power.
You said you believe in death, and that's your God.
Wait,
and then sometimes you're like, all gods are useless.
Is death up for debate? People realize like that's the Trump era. Kellyanne Conway,
on your mood.
What? And that's the thing. This movie changed all that past because now it's like, really nothing. It's just this. That's it. We're just us, and that's it. They're all useless.
My wife is trying to bring back the
death
worship.
is only certain one, but you can't pray to death, and you can't tell death to.
Continue, Mo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like you can pray to death, but it's not going to do anything. And the only reason I like death is because it doesn't discriminate. It takes everybody. But now with this, like death isn't going to give anybody powers, And
the powers aren't bestowed by death. It's just that he.
No. Look, it's just all I'm saying is like, this movie kind of it gets that extra point because it taught me a little something. It's like, you're right, Joe. I was fucking stupid, just like anybody that believes in any other horseshit. Right. Thank you, Joe, for showing me this movie.
That was Joe's entire point. He's like, you're stupid.
One, I never said you were stupid.
Oh, I heard it.
I think watching this movie did make you smarter. Now you know a little bit more about the history of Brazil. Whether you admit it or not, you did learn something.
No, that's true.
I know with your memory, you're going to keep all these facts and dates in mind.
It is true.
They're going to be with you for a long time. And
if I had better people,
one of the things that I like most about this movie is just seeing Brazil through these different time periods. I think it's interesting. It's not something as an American that I get to see a lot of.
I think
this is actually only the second movie that I've seen dealing with the government, the 1800s, Mexico, Brazil. Yeah.
What's the first movie?
La Leyendas. Was it the Chupacabra one?
Listen,
I don't remember if it was the Chupacabra one or the. I think it was.
It sounds like this movie is going to make Mo appreciate Yara Flora a little bit more.
I actually did that. This is why I wish we did talk about Immortal Warrior back then. If you go back and listen, like my review of the Yara Flora Wonder Woman with that.
Back then, you're talking about last week.
Last week, it feels like forever.
Okay, I'm making sure. I was like, you said like when you said back then, I was like, God damn, what was that? What was that? I was like, wait, Yara Flora, that was last week, right? Like you made it sound like it was ancient history, but it was like
I wanted to review those. Look, if you actually look, click subscribe. The video's up here somewhere. If you go back when we were talking about it, I kept trying to push into us going into an Immortal Warrior review so I can compare and contrast.
I remember.
So,
Yeah, but
and that's
it yet.
yeah. But look, we did him we would have done him a favor.
No, I think he learned a little about Brazil too. I think.
Would you have liked to not watch this movie?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
You didn't watch it?
I hate
No.
Oz so much. God damn, Oz.
I tried. I texted. I thought all of you guys, but maybe just Mo. Hey, I need a review copy because I can't find it. And
Look, it's so bad that we couldn't get a review copy.
Prime.
He doesn't have Prime.
Oh.
I don't have Prime.
Why
So,
your packages come so slow?
but I read a synopsis of it, and I got the picture, and then you guys started talking about it.
Did not get the picture. Every synopsis is doing
What did I say about this movie that was wrong? Tell me something I said that was wrong.
Nothing.
I didn't read the Hawkman Hawkgirl thing you're talking about, so
That's been
It was
any
just
Hawk
like-
thing.
Yeah.
just you shouldn't have spoke on this movie if you haven't watched it.
It doesn't equate to Hawkgirl in my opinion, and that's wrong because Hawkman and Hawkwoman is a mutual thing. Now, don't get me wrong. They don't.
So it is date rape.
No,
Yes, it is.
it's date rape. It's not date rape in this movie. Maybe in some points in Hawkman
Manipulation.
Hawkwoman rape, because sometimes they don't remember until after they have sex.
No, but in this movie, like he picked her out, and he's like, okay, she's with a dude, and he's like, I'm still gonna do my thing.
Hawkman and Hawkgirl, like they don't even, neither one of them knows until it happens, until they fall in love, and then the memories come back.
If you're a guy and you're like, well, she's not married, and he's not trying to like disrespect the relationship, but he's like, she's not married, that's not the same thing. It's not like he's like, oh, I'm trying to mess around and like, move
They're
in on
still
your
bro-
girl.
They're still bro code.
They're not bros.
I mean, they were fighting the same demon.
They're not fighting the same demon. They fighting against the same cause, but this guy knows that it's perpetuated by a demon. The other guy is like, oh well, hey, the government. And it's like, he's like, this guy doesn't even treat me well when I'm not trying to get his chick.
And that's where this movie really like depressed me, because it's the perpetuality of like futility of humanity. Like it's just a revolving wheel that just keeps crushing century from century.
I feel like if you were black, you would be like, I get it.
What if I told you that being black is only one spoke in that perpetual wheel?
Mm-mm. You're not gonna sell me on that one.
Nah, man. Like we're living in a Groundhog Day, just a cosmic one. Not an actual
Being black
24 hours.
is the smoke. Being black is the friggin' center of the whole. Like all the spokes come off us.
All right, but
Did
we
you
gotta
just
wrap
say
this up.
if you were black, you would understand this Brazilian story better?
Yeah, listen. Look,
I can see that.
if you have seen the movie,
Yeah.
you would understand that joint, because the second life is literally all about being dark
Racism.
Brazilian.
Yeah. That I actually like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like literally a thing where it's like this fool is Latino Africanos, and it's about like his struggle as that, and why that makes his life different than it would if it. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first story is about him being like ancient Brazilian, and that's a whole different thing. But he's light skinned, well, not light skinned, but he's like brown Brazilian to begin.
It's like before they brought black people and white people.
Right,
to
but in the second life, he's dark Brazilian, and that's a whole different life than he led as a dark Brazilian. Like this, like his family was free and put into slavery because they were dark. You know, it's like it's messed up, dude. It's like it's like, and here's the thing: it's like I get it, where it's like I could totally understand the idea of like, man, it's futile. But it's like, dude, it's like,
Yeah. But life is
when
true.
when you're a dark person, it's like that futility is kind of just a part of your existence. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you mess around, you're just like, dude, like it's crazy. Like the world is a crazy place, and you watch things happen, and you're just like, man, if that was me, it would have turned out a whole different way.
But it is me.
I mean, yes and no.
I'm destined to be born. I'm destined to die. And all that matters is what happens in between, but really nothing really happens. It's just you're awake and then you die, and that's all it is.
I mean,
and that's why I can't get with racism, because we all are born the same and we all die the same. Like,
listen, I mean, yes and no, though, Mo. Like, you know this. Like, trust me, I've known you long enough that I know. Like, where it's like I know that for a moment in time, you could have dated somebody that was like of Caucasian or Jewish descent, and they were like, he's cool. I couldn't do that.
Right, but that shit ain't even important. Like,
no, it's 100% important.
No, it's not, because you're still all gonna die. You're all destined to death. We're all marching towards the grave. Like,
no, but that's the whole point. Where it's like you had a moment where it was okay. I don't ever get that moment.
It wasn't that okay.
Look, I'm not saying it was 100% good. I'm saying, like, yeah, look, I'm not saying somebody looked at you or like questioned you. What I'm saying to you is there were some people that questioned you and some people that didn't. What I'm saying is nobody has any questions about me. They're like, nah, he's no good.
You are no good. That's it.
And that's the title of the episode. Mary Young's no good.
That might be it.
And Lawrence, what would you rate this?
I would give it, I think I have to give it like a 3.5. I want to give it more, but I can't, because the animation quality is what holds it back to me. I feel like the story itself works. And I really feel like if the animation was there, like, people would think about this whole thing differently. And it's one of those things where it bothers me a little bit because, you know, I want to give it like a 4. But it's one of these things where it's like, I can't be mad at people for saying, like, you know, the flaws in it. And I think part of that, like, people will say there's flaws in the story, but what they really mean is they don't like the way it looks. And that's okay, because it doesn't look good all the time. Some moments it does, other moments not so much. And that's the main problem with it. Like, I promise you, like I said, if it was like a level of animation like a studio Ghibli had done this, I feel like they would be like, wow, this story is amazing. And it's just one of those things where it's just like comic. The art matters, you know what I mean? Where it's like, sometimes it's like the art is what makes or breaks something. So I have to give it a 3.5. And I wouldn't be surprised if other people give it lower. But it's good, but it's not great because of the way the animation is. So that's my rating.
Okay. I would give it a 5.
Get the fuck out of here, for real.
Hey, listen, that was very on brand for Joe. Joe is the kind of dude that can see past all of that.
I mean, realistically, yes, it probably deserves a 4.5. You're not wrong about the animation being off at times, but there are some times where it does excel.
It does.
Like, I feel like the hallucinations were really amazing to me. Like, I thought those were great, like fantastic, dark. And there's a couple of scenes where the CGI actually looks like really good. I love the look of Future Brazil.
The city.
Yeah. Like, Yeah, it looks good to me.
Yeah, no, you're right, but the people don't.
Right. Like the people look they are.
Yeah, right. I feel you.
So yeah, I would give it a 4.5. Like it would be better if the people looked better, but there are some places where the art does excel. So, like altogether, I would say 4.5. And those windows are bomb. I love the future windows.
Listen, I'm mad. I know what you're talking about. I'm mad at myself. I'm like, God damn, he's right. Cool.
Okay, so up next,
it's time for a heavy metal minute.
Yes, it is.
And then after that, we'll do some news. Let's go.
All right, this is another John Schaefer update from Iced Earth. Yeah, we talked about how he ended up in the insurrection a couple weeks back, and there's some developing news there. One of which is you cannot buy merch anymore. You go to IcedEarthMerch.com, it's blank. There's nothing. I tried to buy some Iced Earth Black Flag coffee, and it's gone. The skate decks, the incorruptible skate decks, all gone. Nothing, no shirts, nothing. It's gone. Another thing that had happened is that he has turned himself into the authorities in somewhere in Indiana. According to WISH, he went on Sunday, the 17th, and turned himself in. The FBI is charging him with 6 counts of things, 6 crimes. Something about unlawful entry, inciting violence in a Capitol building, little stuff like that. That half of them are probably realistically half of them are gonna stick. There's a picture of him with bear mace, so they're probably gonna tie him to macing a police officer or something, even if he didn't do it. Because guess what? He's a famous person there. He's gonna do it. And then on top of that, the Century Media website has taken Demons and Wizards, his other band, and Iced Earth off their artist lists. So that's, they don't exist anymore for some reason. You know who this guy was. he goes on stage with an Oath Keeper's jacket. Like, you know who this guy is. All of a sudden, you can't do this. Look, more on that later. Then, now there's people on Kickstarter that want their money back. Now, I'm not one of those people that want the money back. I am one of those people on Kickstarter. The Wicked Words book that he did, which compiles a lot of like the Iced Earth history, whether it's interviews and song lyrics and things like that, releases, and gets drawn by the great Jim Ballard, the comics legend, if you like, independent comics of the 90s. Tarot was the great, at the height of the satanic panic of the 90s, Tarot was one of the best comics that dealt with a being from the occult and hell and all that. But that's beside the point. People want their money back. They're saying things like, you ruined 2 bands. All you had to do was make good music, and you ruined 2 bands. And look, these motherfuckers want their money back. They know who they are. They know who Iced Earth is. It's really John Schaefer because he just hires people to be in it. But they know John Schaefer. Like, he wrote a song about the sons of Aaron. Now, if you hear the song Clear the Way, it talks about a Kentucky battalion, a fighting regiment of Irish immigrants that came to this country and decided to fight so that they can get citizenship. And they're the Sons of Aaron. That's the group. It's a bunch of Irish immigrants. They're the Tuskegee of the Civil War, I guess. They just put them Operation Human Shield because they're the immigrants. At one point in America, before people hated the Mexicans coming over the border, they hated the Irish coming over the sea. So a little bit of history there. And because I know history, I know that he was glorifying a Confederate regiment. I didn't want my money back. It's history. It's still history, whether you like it or not. The fact that your country did horrible things, guess what? Every fucking country does horrible things, and every fucking country does horrible things still. You can write music about it, and you can disagree with the guy writing the music, but if the music's good, you can like it. I'm not the most evolved person around. I'm not the most evolved person around telling you that, oh, you can separate the art from the artist. I just like Iced Earth, and I gave my money willingly. I'm not going to ask for it back. Okay, I gave it. I might not give any more money now. You know, I might invest in some Iced Earth bootleg shirts because that's not all now you can get. But I'm not gonna ask for it back. So all of you asking for Iced Earth money back, go fuck yourselves. You knew what you were doing, and if you didn't, it's because you don't read your fucking history books, which is part of the fucking problem to begin with. I'm Moses Magnum. This has been the Heavy Metal Minute.
I don't like it.
What don't you like?
I don't like that. First of all, you are trying to find my on-air replacement, and now I got this guy editing his own video and adding graphics. I don't like it.
I'm not trying to find an on-air replacement for you guys.
Look, I do have a duodenum to that Heavy Metal Minute that you can't find merch anywhere. So it's not just IceEarthMerch.com. It's every other band shirt outlet is not having it. And I hate it. It's the hypocrisy of the whole thing because they didn't give a fuck when he wrote that song about the Sons of Aaron. But all of a sudden they do. And realistically, like the people that fanned those flames of the Stop the Steal in Congress are not being held accountable. So why should John Schaefer be held accountable? You know?
Well, listen. Go ahead, Mo. I mean, go ahead, Che.
No, you do you first.
I was just gonna say that while I agree with the sentiment where you're like, hey, the people in Congress should be held accountable, and Schaefer should be held accountable. Like anybody that was a part of that whole thing should be held accountable.
He's actually the government is denying him like a public defender. That's another duodenum to this.
I don't wait. The government can't deny him a public defender, or shouldn't be able to.
Under the Patriot Act, they can't.
You can't invoke the Patriot Act. Like the government, as far as I know, and I might be wrong here, but as far as I know, the federal government doesn't recognize domestic terrorists as terrorists.
They do when you're not white, but now when you're white too.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, listen, when you say not white, all you're talking about is domestic terrorists.
They're not denying his they're not denying his right to a representation, but they're denying his they're not going to offer him bond. They're denying his ability to
that's
have.
Different.
Yeah.
No, that's different. Like you can decide, like the federal, the government, whether it be federal or even, I mean, like when you're talking about municipal, like they can deny you bond if they feel you're dangerous enough. That's one thing. They can't say to you like, oh, well, you don't deserve any representation. So that's a whole different thing. Like if they're telling you,
there are some situations where they can deny you a public defender.
Which one?
One, if you have the means to pay for legal defense, then.
Oh, they're not denying it. They're just you choose not to. In that case.
Wait, say again.
Oh, are you mean like if you're rich, they won't let you get a defender? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And another one which doesn't apply here, but if you're not seeking jail time, you can be denied a public defender.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing where it's like the idea is if you cannot secure your own defense, the court will appoint a public defender for you. And that's always been the case. Like it's not for rich people where it's like, and it's not for people that were just like, well, I don't want to spend the money. It's like, well, hey, you did the crime, so you're gonna have to spend the money to get yourself your own defense.
Realistically, like usually you would get this advice on our Patreon, legal advice from me, Moses Magna. But if you do choose for a public defender, I'm not gonna say don't do it or do it for anything. But the public defender's job is just to make sure that the law enforcement agency got the right amount of evidence to lock you up. So don't trust the public defender. Go into debt. If you're gonna go into debt for something, go into it for a good lawyer. Don't trust the public defender.
Your freedom. I agree.
Yeah.
Right. I would agree with you there. Right. You're right. Because the public defender probably 9 times out of 10 probably work closely with the people that are trying to prosecute you.
Look, we just voted out Jackie Lacey for the same thing. Like she's working with law enforcement a little too close.
Right.
And that's the public defenders. That's what they do. So when somebody tells me they're a public defender, it's like, I heard somebody saying that the public defenders don't get access to the vaccine. It's like, we're doing the service. I'm like, fuck you. We're just making sure they collected the right amount of evidence to lock anybody up.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm not going to say that across the board.
No, I'm saying it. I didn't say you say it. I speak for me. Fuck you.
I'm going to say there's some public defenders that take their job way more seriously than others.
Name one.
I mean, look, I can make up a name, and you're not going to know whether that's a real person or not.
Do it just like I did the doctor. Just do it for funny effect. Like that's how I did the doctor that's gonna
Dick Dragon. Dragon.
Yeah, look.
You would have done better with Saul Goodman.
Esquire is out here fighting for the people. Goddamn, it's like you don't know if that's a real public defender or not.
Just say it.
I said it already. Not only did I say it, I said it.
No, but in the future,
I've seen Saul Goodman get people off like when there's video evidence. And
That's
shit.
what I'm saying.
He's not a public defender.
He is.
He's not a public defender. He's
not a public defender.
Lawyer.
Private attorney. He don't work for the
No, but he's also he works as a public defender to make money on the side.
Same thing. He doesn't work for the government.
Yes, he does. He gets paid by the government. Have you not seen the show?
No, because he gives pro bono counsel. Like he's an ambulance chaser for criminals.
I've seen the show.
No, he started off as a public defender. He would get a check from the government and everything.
Because he wasn't public. He wasn't elected official of the public court.
No. You don't have to be elected.
Public defenders aren't elected officials.
Right. And technically you're both right, but at the same time, it's like understand that Saul Goodman wasn't like, or I'm sorry, friggin', what's his legal name? I can't remember what his legal name is.
Dr. Keith.
By the time he's Saul Goodman, he's not working for the public.
Jimmy McGill,
right. Jimmy worked for the public defender's office. Saul Goodman did not.
Well, look, I didn't remember Jimmy McGill at the moment. You guys had me on the spot.
Look, it's your job to remember Jimmy McGill.
I'm not trying to tell you that you're wrong for not remembering.
And yet you do.
I'm telling you, you're wrong. You're wrong in facts.
Again, we're not into this perpetuality of humanity. Like we can't go round and round again.
Exactly.
So what are we talking about? You said something about the paper. You want to finish up?
We need news music.
Okay. Okay. We should have a like her. Well, not like that, but like.
You should totally tell Amber to come on the show one of these days.
For what? She does.
She just likes doing set design.
Because we love Amber.
I've been fighting to get her to model the shirts that come in these stupid boxes I get all the time.
I'm not. Listen, that's a completely different thing. I'm not asking her. See, you're trying to get her to be all sexualized. I'm not trying to.
Her videos are still among our highest ranked videos. They're still on.
I know that. I was telling Oz that the other day, where I was like, dude, I came across a video that we did from Fantastic Forum. Where look, I'm not mad at the people for responding to Amber, because Amber is wonderful.
They were good videos.
They were good videos, and Amber's amazing, and I get why people respond to that.
And the set design was on point at the time for the technology of the time.
I agree 100%.
Look, if you're a dude out there and you come across one of those videos and you feel the need to fap, hit the subscribe and the notification buttons, and then you know what? It's all on you.
See,
I won't judge you.
Because I love and respect Oz, I would not say that 100% because that's Oz.
No, but I can say it. Like, look, sometimes I look at her and I need to fap.
Well,
he has no choice but to fap because she's like, get away from me.
Yeah, she's above my league. So
I look. These are the times when I hate this whole show.
You love it. You love it just like that reincarnated chick loved it in Immortal Warrior.
I loved it when we were talking about Immortal Warrior and WandaVision. Right at this moment, I'm just like, why? Why are we doing this? Like, why? Like, why did? Not only why are we doing this, but why is Oz the ringleader? That's what I don't understand.
Well, it's his property that he's talking about.
Look, a woman is not property of anybody.
It is in Illinois.
It's a person. It's not even in Illinois. But even if it wasn't Illinois, I'm not going to recognize that. Whatever.
According to a Nice Earth song, it is.
Listen,
Honestly, that's between the couple, right?
What'd you say, Jay?
That's between the couple, whether or not the wife considers herself property, isn't it?
It's not between the couple. No, Joe.
But you're telling them how they live?
Lawrence doesn't believe a woman has the right to choose whether she's property or not.
Listen, I agree 100%. Listen, I'm 100%.
You have the right to
I'm
be
100% of the mentality that a woman doesn't have the right to choose if she's a person or property. I agree. She's a person. 100% every time. Huh? No, it's not her choice.
It's her choice.
It's her body, her choice, Larry.
No.
It's not your choice. It's her body, her choice.
She can't choose to be property. If she chooses, she's a person.
I don't know. That's not how that works.
That body, your choice only.
How choice works. Like, people choose things. Property doesn't choose anything.
Larry got mad.
We can get to news.
Yeah.
We should get to news, but I'm right either way.
Yeah, stop talking about my wife. Let's talk about news. Let's move on with the show. How about that?
But back to Oz's wife, Emily said that she should talk about Wonder Woman because of the way she did those videos. Like, she wanted to hear Amber's impression of Wonder Woman. But we'll never get that.
Damn.
No.
Because she's
lucky I let her wear shoes. Next story.
Damn.
Speaking of shoes, Zack Snyder said
Wait,
he
what?
preferred.
Wait, what happened? What about Zack Snyder?
I don't know. I needed a segue.
I'm with you.
I make my own segues, Larry. You know, I just ram it in.
You look, because he's Dick Dragon.
Yeah, Dick Dragon. I don't need a name like Dick Dragon though.
He's both Magnum.
Yeah. But Zack Snyder confirmed on Twitter or Vero or whatever, Parlor somewhere that Justice League, the Justice League on HBO Max is going to be a movie, not a series. It's going to be a long, hard movie to watch.
This is the difference between Disney and Warner Brothers, right here. Like, this is it. Because how long? Like, I feel like months we felt that this was going to be a mini series or some like literally we all felt like, I'm not saying it would all come out at once, but it was going to be like 4 1-hour parts.
Well,
and all of a sudden, Zack Snyder's like, no, it's 1 4-hour movie.
Well, that's the thing. At the 4-part TV series was speculation on you misinformed YouTubers' opinion, but nobody bothered to ask the man himself.
Yeah, well, look,
somebody finally did.
When you take a whole year to fuck up a movie twice, It's like at this point, might as well be a series.
It's like you don't feel like HBO Max would make out better if this joint came out like 1 hour a week for 4 weeks than they would if it came out all at once as a 4-hour movie.
I think, yeah, I think they would come out better. But unlike Disney, they listen to the artist and respect his artistic vision for how this should be presented. They don't just try to cram in something because they have a gap in the schedule.
So Disney's out here like forcing artists to do terrible things.
Yeah, I don't know why you're changing the subject. We're talking about Justice League. I don't know why you got to bring Disney into everything.
You just said Disney.
I didn't say Disney. I just said Warner Brothers does things this way, and they respect the artists.
Like
if you wanna interpret not respecting the artist's vision as Disney's way, then that's Disney better than I do.
If you would allow me to squeeze between your thighs here, I feel neither Disney nor Warner Brothers is respecting the artist's vision, because it's about them making money and they're just like screwing it up. Like AT&T doesn't know what they're doing because they haven't had enough time with. Disney has done enough damage that it's like, you know what, people will like it, and if they don't, we'll just give them something in 6 months that they will.
Didn't HBO Max launch before, or DC launched before Disney Plus?
No.
What?
DC Universe didn't launch before Disney Plus?
Oh yeah, but that wasn't AT&T though. Like they launched first, and then AT&T bought it. So they were doing their thing, and then AT&T, again, not caring about the artist's vision, like intervened in everything, and it's like that's when the Swamp Thing had to cancel its shit, and the second season of Titans went what it did.
So you don't feel like Disney Plus respects the vision of artists?
Look, they'll tolerate it, but they pick and choose who they respect. I mean, they didn't respect. Look, they don't. They're all about money. That's
who didn't they respect, Mo? Go ahead. Say it with your chest, Mo. Say it with your chest.
They didn't respect Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon? How?
Look, we're seeing Sword come out now. When Sword should have come out in Infinity War and all that, because that's a space shit.
Wow.
That's cosmic shit. Like that should have been the introduction to Sword. Okay. Instead, we get it as a tidbit at the end of Far From Home.
I mean, okay, Mo. Like whatever you say, buddy.
It's what it is. Like it's how
I guess that's what it is.
You wouldn't want me here if I didn't say how I see it.
You were right. I would not want you here if you didn't call it like you see it. I agree. All right, what else is happening in news?
Speaking of Joss Whedon and not respecting the artist, AT&T that is Ray Fisher released a recorded phone call about what his investigation was like with his allegations with Joss Whedon. And Larry, you got to hear it. How mind-bendingly revealing was it?
Not much. What I will say is this: why it's important is because AT&T at a certain point, or what AT&T or Warner Brothers, whoever you want to say. I even at this point it's hard for me to keep track of who it is we're talking about, because I don't know. I know Warner Brothers Entertainment, I guess, is different than Warner Brothers Pictures, I think. One of them alleged that Ray Fisher was not compliant with the investigation, and was not giving people information, was not showing up to he wasn't showing up to the different like I guess like not coming to requested dates and all that kind of stuff, you know, like basically making it seem as if he wasn't cooperative in the investigation. What the snippet of this recording shows is that somebody from the investigation basically saying like, hey, Ray Fisher, you've been a man of your word, and when you've cooperated fully, and when you told us you were going to be there, you were there, and all that kind of stuff. And so which goes directly against the claims that the studio was making that he was not compliant. So that's like, you know, kudos to Ray Fisher in the sense that it shows that he, like, this is evidence that somebody that was a part of the investigation was literally saying like, no, you've been doing everything you said you would do, you did. And I'm pretty sure that's like damn near a direct quote where somebody was like, you're a man of your word. Everything you told us you would do, you did. And you went ahead and you told us this stuff, even though it was, you know, potentially detrimental to you as a individual. So that's cool. And, you know, I'll give him that. At the same time, it's like, okay, like you played this part of the recording and that's it. And that for me personally feels suspect because it's like, again, like we're in a scenario where it's like this dude has up until this point hasn't really made any like concrete allegations against anyone, whether that be Joss Whedon or Jeff Johns or I mean even Hamada. I don't think, like, I guess technically he has said that Hamada was trying to cover up for everybody else, but he didn't tell us what everybody else did. So it's kind of like we don't know what it is that you're telling us that he covered up for.
So would you say that if you just accuse everybody of not respecting the artist, he'd have a little more legs in his allegation?
I mean, here's my main issue with Ray Fisher and what he has and hasn't done is I can totally respect the idea of saying like, hey, these allegations are private and because I don't want to put I don't want to put anything out there due to respect to the investigation that's happening already. That I can totally understand. And I get why somebody would be like, hey, I don't want to like mess up this internal investigation by saying something publicly that could potentially affect it. I get that, and that makes sense to me. I also get the idea of putting something out there publicly and being like, hey, I tried to handle this internally, but nobody was trying to hear me. And so I feel like the best way for me to handle this is for me to go ahead and say, let the world know that what's happening over here at Warner Brothers is XYZ. That both of those paths make sense to me. The issue I have with Ray Fisher is that he's trying to dance in between those two things. He's trying to like say publicly, these guys aren't acting right. But at the same time saying like, but I can't tell you what they did specifically because I don't want it to hurt the investigation. And it's like, dude, just pick one. Come out publicly and tell people what they did and let the investigation be damned and let the court of public opinion basically like handle it, or handle it internally and let that work out and be quiet about it and let people like let the corporate machine do what it does. And if it doesn't do that, then come out publicly and be like, hey, you know what? I was trying to do this internally, but the studio's not trying to hear me, and Joss Whedon's a bastard because he called me a nigger 14 times.
Larry, we're trying to get monetized. Sorry, we can't say that.
What the hell? I come back in and the N-word is the first thing I hear?
Don't be mad because you didn't get to it first.
And you know how sensitive Oz is to color.
Like,
you probably use it more on the show.
Listen, all I'm saying is you got to pick one lane or the other lane. This like waffling this between the two, and it's like that's the whole messed up part about the whole thing to me. Because I'm not saying like I'm not naive enough to believe that Joss Whedon isn't capable of racism. At the same time, I don't know that anybody that's ever worked with him that I've ever known about has ever said, "Oh, Joss Whedon's a racist." It's like this fool worked on 2 Avengers movies. Like Don Cheadle was there, friggin'
there was a complaint from the computer they got to play Ultron. Like he was anti-AI.
Listen, all I'm saying is there was a whole. Well, I'm not gonna call it diverse because I guess technically, the cast of Avengers is only black and white, right? So I don't know if I would call that diversity.
That's all that matters for diversity.
No, I don't. I disagree. But what I'm saying is that there were black and white people, and nobody had any complaints about Joss Whedon.
I mean, you're acting like Don Cheadle was a main character.
I'm not saying he was the main character, but you're acting like Ray Fisher's the main character. He's not.
In Justice League, he was.
Oh, dude.
Well,
Oh
original Justice League. Once Whedon got his racist hands on it, then his role was reduced.
Austin, listen, I'm going to talk to you real right now. If you want to pretend like Cyborg is the main character of the Justice League movie that we saw, you can do that, but I can't get with you.
Hold on. No, hold on. The Justice League movie that we saw was Whedon's bastardization and his racist view on it. It's not the original Snyder version.
What does that have to do with it?
You come at me after you see the Snyder cut.
No, listen, what I'm not going to do is come at you after the cut. Like, the Snyder cut's not the original version of the movie.
Yeah.
I think it is.
If it was,
you can think that, but you would be wrong because they shot shots for this new version of the movie. And it's like, if that was the original version, they wouldn't have to shoot shots.
Right. They would have just released it
right.
for HBO Max.
Right. It's like, if the Snyder cut was done, you don't need Whedon.
Hey, look, here, I have...
The Whedon cut is... The Whedon cut is 10% of what the Snyder cut is. It was completely redone, completely reshot. So it's not the original vision. It's 2.0 vision through the lens of racist ass
I'm not trying to tell you that the version that Snyder intended originally is what Joss Whedon shot. I'm not trying to say that. What I'm trying to say to you is this: the version that Snyder intended originally was not completed. And so Joss Whedon made changes because the movie wasn't finished.
And that proves our point in the fact that it's taking this long to get the Snyder cut, as opposed to, I just have to edit it and put it out.
Right.
Like, it could have been out at HBO Max launch.
You don't need to pay Snyder or any additional actors or any additional crew members to do anything extra if a Snyder cut was finished. But the fact that
what I do know is Whedon did his damnness to cut as many people of color from this movie.
That's why he took
out Martian Manhunter.
Can you redo that take?
He took out,
but go like this a little bit.
My guy, who is Martian Manhunter in the movie?
There is a Martian Manhunter in the movie.
Who is it?
Are you gonna make me look up the actor?
Listen, you're talking like you know who it is. Who is it?
I know what he looks like.
Look,
I
this
don't know
is
the
all.
actor.
My God, like, was he in?
Thi-
So you're saying Joss Whedon chose to cut out an entire character because he was black?
Yes.
Okay, even though he wasn't actually black, he was Martian black.
No, it was the actor was black. Just like he cut out Flash's girlfriend because she was black.
Dude, so you're saying Joss Whedon chose? So what you're saying is Iris West, black Iris West was so integral to the original Justice League movie.
Doesn't have to be integral. It just has to go against Joss Whedon's racist sensibilities.
But what I'm saying to you is this:
Joss Whedon
if she's
said,
not-
okay, how
if
many
not-
people of color?
what I'm saying to you is
Joss
this.
Whedon say, how many people of color can we cut from this movie?
What I'm saying to you is this:
Iris West, we don't need her.
if she's not important to the movie and
She
happens to
could
be
be white.
black,
And you don't need her.
right. That's what I'm saying. It's like if she's not important to the movie but happens to be black, that's not the same thing as cutting her out because she's black. That's cutting her
That
out
sounds
because
like
she's
you're
not
making
important to the
excuses.
movie.
That sounds like you're making excuses, but
That's
that's
not an
fine.
excuse. That's like what?
It's Biden's America, so yeah, okay, make the excuses you want for segregation.
What?
If that's what you want to support, that's on you.
Let me ask you this. Well, here's the. I know you have. No, wait, hold on. I know you haven't seen the movie yet, Oz. But what part of the Justice League movie do you feel like Iris West plays a key role in?
In the Flash deciding to become a hero, because she is one of the first people that he saves.
Wait,
Ooh, you didn't think I had an answer for that?
So
did
you feel like Iris West. So you feel like Flash and Iris West don't know each other until he saves her in the Justice
Yes.
League movie.
That's where they meet. That's literally the scene. That's how they meet. Is he saves her in a car crash,
and then he falls in love with her at first sight.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's incredibly romantic. Joss Whedon can't handle the idea of a white man falling in love with a black woman.
I'll tell you this right now, Oz. I'm
CW
not
did it
Joss
better.
Whedon. I'm not a racist. I'm not a director. I actually happen to be a black man, and I will tell you right now that sounds like some BS right there. Like I'm just like, why would I put that in my?
You're only black when it's convenient. The other time you're Latino, so I can't trust your opinion at all.
Latino.
But I don't ever get to be Latino by choice. I'm Latino by the idea that somebody will accept the idea that black people and Latino people have a cross section. Like no one ever is just like, oh yeah, he's obviously Latino. No one ever says that to me.
I've met black Cubans.
I come from an English-speaking Latino country, so
I've met like black Cuban, like full on just black guys that happen to be Cuban, and it like freaks me out when they start talking Spanish. I'm like, whoa, shit.
No, but you heard me say that I come from a Latin country that speaks English as their primary language, right?
I heard you.
Larry's mom can speak Spanish.
She can, but not great.
Look, half of the Mexicans here in LA can't.
Well, I know that, but that don't make any
difference. Look, that if that's the criteria, look,
listen,
she can speak Angelino.
That's true. I know a lot more Mexicans that can't speak Spanish than.
I'm just talking about racism. Mexicans don't look at my mom and like, obviously she can speak Spanish. Like Mexicans don't do that.
I learned that the hard way.
They don't look at me and think I have it. Right. Right. Look, Mo feels what I'm talking about. You know too, Oz. You got
all
that
this to say
is
Joss Whedon is a brutal racist, and I can't wait to see the Snyder Cut.
What proof do you have that Joss Whedon is a brutal racist? Ray Fisher said nothing.
Ray Fisher said he's a brutal racist, and I believe all women.
Oh, jeez.
Look, I don't give a fuck.
See how he emasculates black men?
I don't give a fuck who fixes the Justice League. As long, like, I want Steppenwolf to not look like any of these two. Like, he could be Hitler. And as long as it looks like Kirby's art, I'm in. Because this is the Joss Whedon on the right in my window here. On the right, you see Joss Whedon, Steppenwolf, and on the left, you see Snyder, and they're both shit. Like, can we just get like a good design for New Gods? I don't care if you're
like honestly, I'd vote for Trump if he could make that happen. But like everything else, he can't make it happen. Yeah.
You don't like the dark side?
What's that?
Okay. He looks terrible.
He's not good though.
Yeah, he doesn't look Kirby. Like they ignored everything about Kirby and just like threw it out the window. Like the Joss Whedon one wants to look like Kirby, but it's not. It looks like the Kirby inspired action figure.
There's no Joss Whedon. There's no Joss Whedon dark side. Like
I'm talking about from Steppenwolf. But
Marvel's been ignoring Kirby since day one.
Listen,
and I hear I'm talking about them
again. We go to the whataboutism. Like, what's that have to do with the Justice movie?
Like,
nothing.
That doesn't work with me because I'm critical about them too. Like, I'm holding the people accountable. I want my Kirby shit to look like Kirby. That's why we do Kirby hands every now and then. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. I'm doing Kirby hands, but you can't see it because of my.
But I'm just saying,
log on to our OnlyFans, and I will do Kirby cock.
No, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Like, that's the Snyder version. You got the Snyder version right there. It's too small.
It's not the Snyder version because it's too short.
Yeah, it's too long and useless, just like the Snyder cut.
But it's like that's the whole thing where it's like, dude, like. I'm not saying like Lord knows that when this Snyder cut eventually comes to HBO Max, I'm gonna watch it. I don't want to watch it, but I will for the show. But it's like a 4-hour version of Justice League from Zack Snyder is not gonna be good.
You don't know that.
I know it. Like I don't like what like the Joss Whedon version was not good. Why would the Zack Snyder version be good?
Joss Whedon reshot the whole movie. Apparently, only 10% of what Snyder ever shot was actually shown in theater.
Here's what I'm saying to you, Oz. Joss Whedon has a proven track record of making good movies.
Yeah, but
Zack Snyder does not have that.
Yeah, he does.
Zack Snyder has not made good movies.
Look, the only
300
300 is a direct adaptation of Frank Miller.
Not if you actually read the Frank Miller. Like, it's not that direct.
What part of Zack Snyder's 300 is different from Frank Miller? Tell me.
The nudity.
No, you're wrong. So tell me again.
He's right.
How's he right?
They were nude in the comics, but not in the movie. They had underwear.
Moses, you're making my point. You're saying that there were more nude.
No. Your point was that it's a direct adaptation. Now you're changing it to there's differences, and Mo is pointing out your point, which was that there's no difference.
You're saying that Zack Snyder's version is less like the comic than.
I'm saying it's inspired by the comic, sure.
No, I'm not going to go down. Here's the thing.
It's not a frame for frame. Like, it's not a shot for shot.
It literally is a shot for shot for almost everything other than the nudity.
The nudity and the parliamentary proceedings.
Like the best Zack Snyder movies are 300 and Watchmen.
And Owls of Gahul, you like that?
Yeah, the Owls of Gahul was amazing.
Yeah,
oh, you're right. The Owls of Gahul it's not based on a comic, right?
No, but it's a good movie, and that you said
that
a good movie.
And Dawn of the Dead was really good.
What is
Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah, that was amazing too.
I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
Well, you're not gonna watch that. You're anti-Deadite.
Whatever you want to say, but what I'm saying to you all is you all are everybody's acting like this fool making these like DC movies is good. They're not good.
I'm not saying that, but he makes movies. He just chooses not to when it comes to DC.
In chat, Black Compat says Joss Whedon is a bitch.
Why?
She's listening to Ray Fisher.
What did Joss Whedon do?
I don't know.
And here's the thing. I'm not saying Joss Whedon can't be a racist. I'm saying nobody has told me anything that makes it so I'm like, oh man, that's really racist.
When he was going through a divorce, his wife tried to like Me Too him before it was cool, and it didn't stick. Like you brought up Aziz Ansari earlier, like Joss Whedon's Me Too moment stuck for us.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. Where I'm just like, and it's not to say that, yay, here's the thing. I'm not saying Joss Whedon can't be this person. Because I'm not, like I said, again, I'm not that naive. What I'm saying is, if he is this person, all somebody has to say is what he did. But nobody wants to say what he did.
He belittled the people of color in the movie that he was working on. Because it's the first movie. It's the first movie he's done ever that wasn't predominantly white.
Which one?
Justice League.
Why is Justice League not predominantly white?
How many white people are in it?
Like 4.
Name them.
Friggin' Ben Affleck.
That's one.
Okay, and then you have who's Flash? What's his name?
Who cares? But Flash is white.
Okay, and then you have Superman.
Superman's dead. Wonder Woman. Superman's dead in most of it. You don't count him.
Why do we not count him? He's in it.
And Wonder Woman's not technically white as an Israeli. As a Israeli.
She's white.
Somebody with Nazi tendencies would naturally hate her.
What does Nazi tendency have to do with being white?
Well,
I'm not taking Israeli views from what Nazis think.
She not only is she Jewish, she's straight up Israeli. So somebody with Nazi tendencies would.
An Israeli person is a white person.
That's how
Nazis still hate them.
That's how.
Wait. So are you saying Nazis are okay with Israelis now?
What is Nazi? Why is Nazis your benchmark?
Well, here's the thing. Nazis,
I don't care what Nazis think. Why do you care?
Hold on. Nazis would be okay with Israelis because they just want them to go where they came from.
I'm sorry. Are you saying? Wait, hold on. Are you saying the party of Hitler is okay with Israelis? Is that your hot take?
No, my hot take is
no, not you.
Why do we care what Nazis think?
Oh, because Whedon is one.
Whedon is not a Nazi.
You don't know that.
And I'm not a Nazi. Are you a Nazi?
Wait, why are you saying you're not a Nazi? Or do you have a hatred of Israelis?
No, I have no hatred of Israelis.
Well, we're talking about Joss Whedon.
Israeli people are white people.
We're talking about Joss Whedon. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know why you got to bring
as far as I know, Joss Whedon has no problem with Israeli people.
Like much like all the allegations against Joss Whedon, aside from him having like a not likable face from chat. These are all moot points that are just going to go around and around. So I'm just going to go into another story, if that's okay with you guys. Because really, like, Oz is a DC guy. He has his, he considers Semites white, not white enough, where people of color consider them white. And we know why that is. So, talking about being not dark enough, this Image and Top Cow are bringing out a comic book, a fantasy alchemy with Aztec mythology called Helm Great Castle. We talked about that earlier in the show, and in looking at the pictures.
Did we talk about this earlier in the show?
Yeah, we brought it up earlier. You brought it up yourself. You don't remember?
I think that's before the show.
No, we're talking about Immortal Warrior. Like you said, Image is doing it with Aztec stuff.
I think that was all before we started.
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay.
No, you're wrong. Either way, it's called Helm Great Castle. Somehow this is a story about Aztec mythology. It's called Helm Great Castle, and everybody in it looks white. So that's
cultural appropriation.
Yeah. And if there's one like if it's like Aztec mythology and like nobody's eating people, I'm out.
Nobody what? Wait, you said nobody's what?
Eating people.
Oh, eating. So they don't need to be brown. They just need to be cannibals.
Well, the thing is, Aztecs love the taste of white people. Like, and that was my favorite part in Immortal Warrior when they're eating the food and then they give the little kid the It's like they gave the other Portuguese like the enemy's leg, and he don't want to take it. And it's like, bitch.
Yeah.
And then the little kids just eat it. Like that.
Yeah.
The original recipe for pozole was with people, and then when the Christians came, they gave us pork and hypertension.
Shut up. Is that true?
Yeah, it was a sacrament to eat pozole with the meat of your enemies. Like it was
Really?
yeah, because Aztecs believed that the people came from corn, not from dirt, like the Bible says, but from corn. So
Wow.
making the soup with the corn and eating your enemies was giving them a respectful death. Even though they died, like you were respecting them, bringing them as part of you, because we're all corn, no matter if we're
Listen, I'll tell you right now, pozole is delicious.
yeah, with people, I gotta just imagine how delicious it is.
And that's what I'm saying. Where I'm like, I don't know that I'd be able to tell the difference between whether it was pork or people.
Well, that was the
that's messed
logic. When the Christians came to Mexico, they're like, well, look, if it's a taste thing, then here, like, let's use pork.
That's wild. Man.
That's really how it happened. Like,
Wow.
and I was listening to a culinary historian that still has Aztec roots talk about like the evolution of pozole, and that was it. Like you know what? I'm gonna eat it with my enemies next time. Although none of my enemies I respect enough to want to give them the respect of ingesting them, but
Wow.
That's why.
But that's my Spaniard side.
That's why pozole has the corn kernels, and menudo is the one without.
Because,
big difference. For some reason, people don't know the difference.
Yeah.
Oh, I know the difference. But yeah.
Okay. Black Combat in chat says there's an article on AV Club where site where Fisher cites specific things, including reshoots, moving characters of color out, over and color over correction on skin tones of POCs. I can see those allegations, but if you look at Snyder's cut, everybody was gray, and it wasn't for equality. It was for the grimness of the costumes. Like, you can actually go on HBO Max and look at the poster for BVS and Justice League, the Whedon one, side by side, and the Whedon one, they just look more like superheroes because it's about the colors, it's about the art, and you gotta color. If depending on what your costume is, you gotta correct the light. I'm a light motherfucker. People, Larry, you talk to people thinking I'm Jewish or pretending I'm white, and you just saw my video of the Heavy Metal Minute that I did in video version. I had to color correct my own skin just so that it could match my red, white, and blue background and my black shirt, so that it doesn't look too white and it looks more peachy and warm toned like my true skin color. So color correction is part of filmmaking. Like, nobody, you want to accuse Kubrick of like being, the more olive tone people were color correcting in their skin, and again, that era of movie making, they had to do everything. They had to fix it in pre, not and after. But they had to do it in pre, and they just didn't tell anybody about it.
Yeah. I will also say that I know that the allegations did get made about that, and I do remember this was the problem with me for those allegations. It was like, it wasn't Ray Fisher saying like, oh, what happened is he did this and this is what I saw. He was like relaying a message from somebody else. And when the crew came back with the allegations, they were like, hey, there's a whole team of people that do color correction. They like the editor and like a whole other people from like the staff all went on record and was like, I mean, we made color corrections, but it had nothing to do with people's skin tone. And don't get me wrong, here's the thing. From a systemic perspective, I would totally get with that, in the sense that I do feel like there's plenty of movies and TV shows that don't take darker skin tones into account. And you can make an argument whether Ray Fisher's skin tone is dark or not, because it's kind of on the cusp there. But the fact is, it's like I can totally get on the idea that there are people making movies and television shows that aren't taking skin tones into account when they're lighting, because most of the people on set are fairer skinned, are white people, and that's what they make sure look good. And the rest of us are like, well, we'll figure it out after the fact. But the idea that it's like, dude, I mean,
I'm gonna show you.
like.
I wish
What?
racist Joss Whedon would take over our Instagram, because I'm gonna show you the benefit of color correction in accepting people of color in your film and people of non-color like me. And this is what, when somebody like racist ass Joss Whedon doesn't hire the right people to do it, this is what their Instagram post looks like. I hope you can see it.
I mean, nobody's gonna see that. Well, hold on, look, we'll get a close up. But who is that?
That's
Oh,
me
no.
and Joe.
That's Mo and Joe's asleep.
Oh, I was like, I see Joe, but I was like, what's that white spot there?
That's what I'm saying. Like, the cameras can't tell color.
Yeah, your
And-
phone even conked out. It was like, no.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? This is futile.
Okay, so I just have a question. Are we doing news, or do you want to keep defending the racist?
I think.
I mean, we defend you every week, so it's on brand for us.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah, like at this point, we're past the 2 hour mark, so we could do whatever. Like I could literally.
You have a story?
Yeah.
Does that mean no?
It's a news, huh? You want to do news, right?
Yeah. Okay. So what's the next story?
Oh, no, you don't got a story, then shut the fuck up.
Well,
we'll talk about Joss Whedon. That's what's happening in chat. That's what we're talking about.
Here's another story I do have. The Old Guard is coming out with a new book. If you remember, the Old Guard is, huh?
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, the Old Guard Tales Through Time miniseries is coming out.
So the real Immortal Warrior.
Like an additional Immortal Warrior. How about that?
When I googled the Immortal Warrior, that's what I got was the Old Guard.
I believe. Well, I mean, it had a Netflix movie with Charlize Theron. So,
dude, the Immortal Warrior had a Amazon Prime movie.
I don't know why you feel like that's the same thing. First of all, I don't know why you feel like Netflix and Amazon Prime are on the same level. I don't know why you feel like an animated movie is on the same level with a live action movie with Charlize Theron.
Also, it's the wrong title, so.
That's the title you gave me.
Yeah, it's the wrong.
They didn't call the Black Guard the Immortal Warrior. They said it's a movie about an Immortal Warrior, which is why it kept popping up on my.
What is the Black Guard?
You know what I mean.
See, he's that racist.
The Old Guard.
His mind is black. Sorry, I apologize.
The people of Color Guard.
Color Guard is a whole different thing. That's not.
It is. Look, I was in the Color Guard.
Speaking of people of color, Larry hated Batwoman.
Wait, what?
As well, he should. I can't look.
Why do you say that?
On that.
He didn't like it.
Listen, what I'm going to do right now is talk about the Old Guard Tales Through Time.
Look, Lawrence said he liked Star Trek Discovery, so I believe he likes everything at this point.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The Old Guard Tales Through Time is a miniseries that will span through the decades, that has stories all the way from feudal Japan to World War II.
Lawrence, no one cares. No one's going to read it. No one read the old stuff. Nobody cared when we talk about it. Nobody's going to read the new stuff. They care about Batwoman.
Listen, what they care about, what we tell them to care about. One.
Yeah, didn't I do that last week?
And this is something that they should care about, because the Old Guard is a comic book. Even like the original book is a good book. We mentioned that when the Netflix series came out. They're different, but they're still both good.
Netflix movie.
Right. I'm sorry, the Netflix movie. But the writers involved with this miniseries are Brian Michael Bendis, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Matt Fraction, and Jason Aaron, which are all.
Let me just make sure I understand you right, Lawrence. You're saying that the Old Guard movie came out, and now they're putting out a comic based on the movie.
I didn't say that.
That's not what you're saying?
No.
I'm sorry. I'm used to you claiming that the comics come second, so my apologies if that's not what's happening.
Why would I ever claim the comic? When have I ever said that?
iZombie.
I've never said that. Why would you listen to Quick Sleeve?
Why wouldn't I? Are you
confused?
Okay. Look, exactly. Hey, I don't hate women like you do.
Brian Michael Bendis, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Matt Fraction, Jason Aaron, all writing on this Old Guard miniseries, and art will be Michael Avanoming and Valentine Delandro, which some people I know Oming they know, but Delandro they may not. But Delandro's good too. He did his big creator-owned claim to fame is Bitch Planet, which you may know. Like. Oh yeah, we've talked about it.
Call women bitches. Yeah, that's why you like it.
I don't think I like it because they call women bitches, but
it's an added bonus.
I mean, look, if you read the book, you understand why it's called Bitch Planet. I mean, it's a planet that's a female women's prison. So
I don't have room in my reading list for hate. Sorry.
I mean, listen, if you don't like good comics, I get it. You know, you and Oz hang out and read terrible stuff together.
And you're the one saying hateful comics are good.
I'm like, it's not a commentary on the women. It's just what they call the planet.
I'm sad Joe left because I got news for him.
Joe will be back. Look, Joe gonna add him. See, there he is. He added himself back to the stream.
He heard you talking about him.
He was like, "Yeah, you guys are full of shit. I'm out. I'm gonna go beat off in 10 seconds."
Because his nickname is Dick Dragon.
Well, we call him Jay for jerk off.
We call him Jay for jerk off. All right.
My Little Pony / Transformers 2 is coming. Yeah, as an owner of the company, I'm like, all right, they are renewing their Godzilla stuff just in time, so hopefully that'll prove good. But
here's the part. Then I'm gonna put out a Rib Fur remix.
Hold on. Is Transformers My Little Pony Part 2? Were you really looking for that? Like, seriously?
No, but it's an added bonus. Like Larry,
I'm not asking your owner ass. I'm asking the fan.
Well, I'll tell you this. The sad fact of the matter is the worst Transformers news I heard this week was not that. That's the messed up part.
I mean, they left the ending with the ending set up the sequel. And I was hoping they would continue that. And
Jay
was like, they are.
I was like, we don't need it. but Jay was hoping they would continue it, and Jay won, and I'm not mad at that. Like, let Jay have what he wants.
Okay, Lawrence, what's the news you heard?
The news I heard was that the Transformers live action movies are looking to somehow tie into a Beast Wars live action tie-in.
I'm out.
Exactly. I'm like, that's the worst thing that could ever happen to
Are we still talking
about gonna be on board?
No, we're not talking about comics. We're talking about like Bayformers.
So Bayformers, but Beast Wars.
Right.
Is Gary Chalk involved?
Listen, Jay, I don't know what makes you feel like I know who the hell that is. Like what?
Gary Chalk is the guy that's gonna like analyze you to see why you can't beat off and watch horror movies.
Joe, why are you talking to me like the voice of Optimus Primal is equivalent to the voice of Optimus Prime? Like, why are you talking to me like
you were good?
I thought you were a Beast Wars fan. I'm sorry.
Joe's talking more like
I can be a Beast Wars fan and think that the cast did good for Beast Wars and fully recognize the fact. I mean, like, they're not iconic in the same way. Like, why are we trying to make it seem like they are? They're not,
but they are better.
They're not iconic or better.
They are
I
better.
just thought you knew who Optimus Primal was.
The Megatron from Beast Wars had a better voice than the Megatron from Generation 1. Pterosaur,
how dare you?
Pterosaur was better than Starscream in voice. Optimus Primal was good.
What?
Lawrence knows Peter Cullen, and he's out after that.
Listen, I'm not by no means am I saying, oh, Peter Cullen should have been the voice of Optimus Primal. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is the Chalk dude. I'm not saying that not like there are Beast Wars fans out there that know who he is, and like Joe might try to equate Cullen and Chalk. What I'm saying is Cullen is the voice of a generation. Chalk, not so much, and that's okay. Chalk was the voice of a moment, and that's okay. Like I'm just like, no, like if they change if this new movie comes out and there's Optimus Primal in it, nobody's gonna be like, oh, that's not Chalk. Okay, well, okay, you're right. You and the other like 24 people will be on that same tip. Look, I'm not mad at that. I get it. I'm one of the 24 Guardians of the Galaxy people that understand your pain, but understand at the same time that we don't matter.
Wow, Chalk did the voices for Optimus Prime too.
Yeah, he did later on.
Not in any significant way.
Okay, Transformers Energon, not significant.
Dude, do you know what that was before you read it?
It came up before Transformers Cybertron, obviously.
Yeah, but listen, I know what Energon is without Wikipedia.
Well, I know what Energon is too. It's what they were looking for in the original series.
No, the cartoon was the one that was like Digimon, right? Is that the one?
Exactly. Transformers Energon is basically the Pokemon of Transformers, and that makes it not good.
I was mad because they had Death Charge in it and Black Arachnia in it. Like,
I don't think Black Arachnia is in Energon.
No, it wasn't even Death Charge either. It was the other guy, the shark.
The shark, right? Yeah, like what? Sky Shark, I think his name is something like that. Listen, Transformers Energon has its merits. Like, there's fans for that. I'm not trying to tell people don't like the Transformers you like. What I'm trying to say is, don't try to equate your Transformers that you like to the friggin' like original like Generation 1 Transformers.
I just want to know if he's reprising his role like Cullen did.
I understand, Lawrence. I understand your desire for purity, and you're right. None of us can understand your comp. But
see, don't equate me to Nazis. Peter Cullen played Optimus Prime that died, that made children write tear-soaked letters that they sent to the studio, like literally letters they received with teardrops on them. Nobody cried for Optimus Prime.
You don't know those are tears.
No, I know they're tears. They're tears.
No.
I called Larry earlier today in pre-production to get his quote on this, just as pre-production, and here's what he said.
Ein Sowjetzeichen soll vor sich hertragen und wir werden in unserem Zeichen wieder siegen.
That's him talking about Transformers.
Look, I mean, he was prepping for our Van Skeever interview.
Oh, you sons of bitches! All I'm saying is all I'm saying is like there are moments in Transformers fandom and history, and let's not try to pretend they're all the same. That's all I'm saying. It's like
you're right, man.
The messed up part is the dominant Transformers fandoms across the board are G1, Bayformers.
Okay,
If you're talking about anything in between those two,
this is going on.
You're in the minority.
This is going on for way too long. I understand, Lawrence. You will have a certain set of ideals that represent Transformers, and you're wishing to stop the steal of what you believe.
No steal. There's no steal.
Oh,
it's like my Transformers fandoms are legitimate, and the other fandoms are legitimate as well, but in a different way, and that's all there is.
That's what Charles said too.
That's all it is. It's like, I'm not saying they're like, you can be a fan of Transformers Energon. I'm not saying you shouldn't be a fan of that. I'm saying if you want to pretend like it's G1 or Beast Wars, you're mistaken. That simple. It sounds like it's time for final thoughts. Jay, why don't you give us some final thoughts? You haven't been talking lately.
So if you watch Immortal Warrior and you want to pair it with something, I would pair it with Ren, Daughters of Nemesis. It's about an immortal private detective, and each episode is like during a different time period, or at not a different time period, but at a different time, and so it's themed thematically like Immortal Warrior
and WandaVision.
No.
He's like, don't compare your fandoms.
But yeah.
Get that.
Yeah, so check it out if you want.
Oscar, final thoughts, buddy.
I understand that people listening to us live know that Batwoman has come out, and you are probably wondering why we haven't talked about her. And it's mostly because Lawrence hates powerful women of color. But I assure you, we will try to get to it whenever we can convince Lawrence to let us get to it.
We might have to do one shot.
Yeah, maybe.
Why are you trying to make me seem like I'm like the Mitch McConnell of Fantastic Four?
And then at some point,
when have I ever vetoed anything? When have I ever been like, oh, we can't talk about that? When have I ever done that?
Well, when you vetoed the fact that Star Trek Discovery Season 3 sucked.
I didn't veto. I disagreed.
That's a whole other show.
You son of a bitch.
You're not going to veto something you agree with, right?
We're gonna do a one shot, Oz, and then you're gonna have to be. I'm gonna call you.
You keep saying that, and we're having enough trouble doing this 4-shot or whatever we call the show.
Moses Magnum. Final thought.
Random Rick Review _RRR from Twitch says, and nobody cared when poor Duke died around the same time. There are Bayformers fans? Question mark.
Duke didn't die. That's the messed up part. They friggin' retroactively like changed that joint. That's why no one cared, because they're like, he's okay. It's literally like, he didn't watch that movie. At the end, they're like, Duke lived, goddamn, because everybody was so shooken up about the fact that Optimus Prime died and those tear-soaked letters, and that's why Duke lived, because they're like, when Optimus Prime died, people cried and sent letters, and parents were angry.
Yeah, tears made those pages stick together. Gotcha.
So your alternate theory is that people
stop analyzing everything I say. Just fucking
people
laugh.
are masturbating to the death of Optimus Prime. You sick bastard!
Stop trying to analyze my jokes.
That's what you just said. That's what you just said.
Enjoy it.
Anyway,
you guys are ruining my final thought.
Finish your final thought. I apologize.
Thank you to Vicious Instinct Records. They got me the last Gamma Sector album they had. All the way from Australia. It came at 2 a.m. last night. So yeah, I'll be reviewing that. If you subscribe and hit the bell and like, you'll probably get it on a Fraction of Forever or Heavy Metal Minute. Yeah.
I'm requesting it. Do it, Mo. So, for the entire Fantastic Forum, thank you all for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you. We know we went long. If you're still hanging out with us, hey, you're a trooper. If you're watching this on either YouTube or Twitch, or if you're listening to us on iTunes or friggin' Podbean, Stitcher, whatever it is, thank you all for taking the time to hang out with us. We want your input. Let us know what you liked about the show. Let us know what you didn't like about the show. Tell us what you want us to talk about. We want to hear from you because you are the people that hung in for the long haul. So we do appreciate you. This is Fantastic Forum. We'll be back next week. Until then, yeah. We'll catch you next time. This is it. We're out. Tell me what my catchphrase should be. Later.